Congratulations, counselor. Yet another win.
You're the famous Yoshi Lomax.
I don't know what it is you did, but I can promise you, he is going down.
Well, where have I heard that before?
I'm just a bad woman. Do whatever I want. I don't need no. Don't want to be no. I'm just a
Miss Lomax is now considered a fugitive of the United States. Catching fugitives is my business, which makes her my suspect.
Here's a letter from the mayor on Louis Santana's behalf. There's cash in there as well.
Mr. Santana is to be released upon processing. You know, I can be disbarred for life and in prison for this.
Would it be easy to get rid of?
It's as good as gone.
So let's toast to success.
Chastity, the social media influencer and rockstar killer. Maria, from Miami. And Lucy, aspiring actress. Sydney, hip-hop lover and writer, so I'm told. And my quiet one, Mackenzie. Well, hello, ladies. I'm Bella. I have a question for everyone. Why do you think rich men cheat? Control.
I'm going home.
Don't go.
Attention.
You bring the total package to the table. You just need the right friends.
Are you my friend?
No, but you can be mine.
And power.
I stuck my neck out for you.
Thank you!
And I pulled the strings to get you onto this show.
Take all three away, and he becomes desperate.
So what's with the apples?
Well, it represents knowledge, wisdom, beauty, and power. Here, you will learn how to gain ownership of all.
I'm gonna send you the money for the ticket, and I already have your room set up at the Palms.
You do that, babe.
Because once you have possession of the apple, no man alive will have power over you.
You make it sound so easy.
Oh, it's not easy.
Brett, look, I'm sorry.
Save it! Save it!
I get no auditions.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
I get no callbacks.
I really need to get upstairs. They stole all my money.
I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but you're no better than the rest of us.
Right now they have a do not disturb until this afternoon. If they call you, great.
How is he gonna call me if he doesn't?
If not, charge it to the game.
Make no mistake, ladies. In order to succeed in this game, you must be willing to play it out till the very end.
This business is all types of savage. What are you doing?
But if you follow my blueprints, I guarantee you will become a millionaire within the next 3 years. Possibly way earlier. So, are you ready to take that step?
Another day, another dollar. Ain't about money, don't you holla. 100 miles and racing, and that money conversation is my only motivation, yeah.
Up y'all, this is Rayon Lawrence, and you're watching Real Talk with the director.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Catherine Nunez, and you're watching Real Talk with the director and the council on the IE network.
Real Talk.
Hey, I'm Gina Lou, and you're listening to Real Talk with the director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hey, what's up? It's Logan Browning, and you're listening to Real Talk with the director on Dollhouse Radio.
Real Talk.
Hi, this is Alana De La Garza, and you're listening to Real Talk with the director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, I'm Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. You're listening to Real Talk with the director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, this is Monique Dupree, and you are watching Real Talk with the director on Blog Talk Radio.
Hey,
I'm Stormy Maya, and you are listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
It's Vicky Judy. Orange is the new black, and I'm here with Real Talk.
Yo, what up? This is Jay Ellis, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio. Keep it locked.
Hi, I'm Frida Parks, and you're listening to Real Talk Radio with the Director. Hey, I'm Issa Rae, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Nothing more and nothing less. What up? Welcome to Real Talk. Hold on a second as I bring my camera on. 1 second. But anyway, Real Talk with the Director and Shout Out Council. I'm the Director. Be with you for the next 120 minutes or so. Real Talk's brought to you each and every Monday by B2S Media, and we broadcast live via the World Wide Web on youtube.com/IE Network TV and Facebook, aka Meta, and Twitter. So yes, it's another Monday. Got a lot to talk about in the world of film, and we'll get to that in one moment. Let me just hold on a second here. I'm gonna get my camera on 1 second. Let me bring in Ralph anyway, my Jedi Council, while I get all my technical difficulties together. And we also have a guest host that I'll be bringing in a moment. So Ralph, you're in the building, bro. You're gonna have to excuse me for 1 second because I'm just gonna get my camera together. It's just wigging out right now. Give me 1 moment.
That's okay. Take your time. Technical difficulties happen all the time. But welcome everybody to Real Talk Director. I am part of the Jedi Council. I'm your boy Ralph. I'm dressed in all black today because it's a little chilly here in the East Coast, just a touch bit chilly, but we got a really great show for you tonight. We're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about is Jonathan Major really going to get whopped with his accusation for assault, and we have a very special guest co-host with Cynthia Sweet. So Tune in, sit down, grab your popcorn, get your drink on, and watch the show.
Right. I got mine, you know what I'm saying? Just in case, whatever. You can see it. Yeah, man, thank you for that. I appreciate it, Ralph, holding it down. Of course, you can host this show by yourself, you know. If you really
I
need
know,
to.
I just don't.
Yeah, you just never do.
Know,
But
I might be bored. People might be bored, like, yo, bro, where's everybody else at?
I don't mind talking to myself. I'm talking, I'm like, I just keep going. I even start answering myself sometimes. Yes, I do. I know people.
Exactly. See, that's one of the. Cool, but I was just saying. Oh, while I'm thinking about that, I want to give a very happy birthday to my best friend on this planet. My friend Suzanne. It's her birthday today. But we were talking about that very thing. I said, that's one of the signs of old age. You start talking to yourself, and more importantly, you start answering yourself. That's when you start having a conversation with yourself. Here's a problem. There's a real problem there.
It's a problem. Sometimes I talk to myself and answer myself, just so, like, you know, Jay-Z had this song called "Streets Is Watching," and he had a little line in there that said, "It's hard not to kill a nigga. It's like a full-time job not to kill a nigga."
Oh my God, he ain't never lied. Jigga ain't never lied. It really is.
Sometimes
it really truly is. Listen.
When you go through that thing.
Last week.
Yeah, me too.
Look, man, last week I wanted to kill somebody. Last week I wanted to kill this. I wanted to kill this little snot-nosed, punky ass teenager. Him and his 5 friends. I wanted to just.
You mentioned that last week. Yeah, I know you said it. But you know what it is though. Sometimes I gotta talk to myself to say, you know what, Wes. Just be Wes. Wes is the diplomat. Wes is the one who says, you know what, this, that, and the other. We ain't gonna go there. We're gonna keep it civil. Because one thing, both of my parents, God rest their soul, has always told me as a child. 3 words. Don't embarrass me.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I was always taught.
Don't embarrass me.
From my mother and my father. Don't embarrass me.
Yeah. Or I got don't show your ass. Don't show your ass out in public. Right?
Yeah, the same thing.
Don't show
your ass. It means
ass.
the same thing. It means don't embarrass me. Yeah, so we got interesting show. We was not going to talk about this one subject until it actually happened, but we'll get to that, and we're gonna introduce our co-host. Let me also a lot of see. I got so tied up before the show started. There's a lot of things that I didn't get a chance to follow through on. So let me go ahead and send Kev the link.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that's why I forgot. That's what I'm telling you. It's hard not to kill a nigga. It's full-time job not to kill a nigga. So let me niggas want to test you when your gun go warm. That's what he said. So anyway, I'm not, I ain't gonna front. That's just a figure of speech to me. I don't advocate using guns. I'm just saying.
I can say that.
That's
I
a
don't
metaphor. It's a metaphor.
I'll say that I don't advocate using guns. I'd rather use a knife. Nice and slow. Watch it squirm. Watch the life force just drain out of you. Like,
yeah, well, I won't even question you. You ex-military, so I won't even question your how you feel about things. But honestly, I'm just sometimes I'm a very centered person, and when I get thrown off center, I kind of start fumbling a lot. So I apologize that my camera wasn't working and I didn't send Kev the link. So I put all that out there. I just sent it to him, so he'll be joining us soon. Until then, our show lined up today where we will be talking about the Jonathan Majors thing that's been happening, like you said, Ralph. And another thing I want to talk about, very interesting topic. Okay. With in the wake of well, not in the wake of, but there's a possible pending strike from the writers, right? The writers meaning Hollywood writers. There's a pending strike because they want some things. They want more things. They want to negotiate better terms, better perks, and better benefits in their contracts and stuff. But there's one little interesting thing that I want to talk about involving artificial intelligence. Right? Now, artificial intelligence comes into play because there's already artificial intelligence, there's already AI websites and programs out there that literally can replace writers altogether. Screenwriters too. Right? So like I actually over the weekend I did some digging and I actually started playing around with this one program that actually literally you can just put in there if you wanted to write a film about whoever. Let's just say you want to write a film about what do you want to write a film about, Ralph? What would you want to write a film about?
Not killing people.
Just give me anything.
Not killing people.
So if you wanted to write a film about not killing people, you can literally type in this artificial intelligence in this database. Write me a film about not killing people. Make sure that Ralph is the protagonist and Wes is the antagonist and blah 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 blah. And you can put all this detail in there, and you know what's gonna happen? It will spit you out a film, a screenplay that basically said what you asked him to do. Now that's scary because and that is bad news for writers. So we'll get into that a little bit, and then we'll get into the Jonathan Majors. As we all know, as you said, Jonathan Majors has been accused he's been arrested and accused of assault on his alleged, I think it's his girlfriend. And at first it came as a woman. They just said a woman. Then it's like his girlfriend. So basically, they're saying that him and his girlfriend got into some sort of domestic dispute in the back of a cab in New York City. And they're saying that he hit her, he smacked her, he choked her, and she called the cops, right, and reported it. So now there's other reports saying that his lawyer is saying that they're retrieving the footage from the cab. They're also seeking to have the cab driver as a witness, and that these allegations are not true. Uh, about the client. So that we will see. All of that stuff is pending and whatever. So let's see. But in the meantime, let's bring in our co-host, our guest co-host for the evening. All right, Miss this young lady we just recently met through a mutual acquaintance, and she is a singer and songwriter, and I'm sure she does other things. And I really, we've been still on the search for a female co-host, and we're like, hey, let's bring another guest female co-host on board, and we're gonna learn a little more about her as we go along. Miss Cynthia Sweet is joining us in the building. Cynthia,
Hi,
hello.
everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
How you
How are
doing?
you?
I am good.
Hello, how are
you?
you?
Good, thank you. I'm so excited
Yeah.
to be here today.
Yeah,
Hang out
that's
with you
thank
guys.
you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. And that is Ralph, my co-host, and we have one more on the way. It's Kev. I know you told me that you had looked at some of the other, episodes. I think you said that. But anyway, if you
Yeah.
have, you'll see that Kev is part of we are the Jedi Council, and we obviously call ourselves that because we're kind of like gurus in the film field.
That's
This
dope.
this show is really mostly
Mm-hmm.
film and television, or not mostly. It is film and television oriented, and that's really pretty much what we talk about all the time. Everything surrounding it, including news, good and bad. So that
Okay.
that's including the topics we're going to be talking about today with Jonathan Majors. I'm a full transparency. I'm gonna let y'all know. I first of all, especially real talk as a whole, we don't judge, jump to conclusions or anything like that before all of the details are set out. Okay, a lot of outlets and a lot of social media is already burying this guy, and some of them are, in my opinion, falsely jumping to conclusions on his part and her part, and they don't know the details. Some people are falsely accusing the the alleged victim of like lying or whatever the case may be because she retracted her statement. That doesn't mean she lied. Um, Also, people are obviously jumping the gun about Jonathan Majors himself. And it's just a whole lot of things out there that we'll get into more detail about that. I'm just so disappointed in people that's going there. But I'm going to say full transparency that I'm disappointed in this whole situation. From as an artist myself, as a creative, uh, you know, I really wish male and female would be able to not put themselves in these situations. It happens. I know that's life. They're human. They're not,
Mm-hmm.
inhuman. They're not aliens. We get that. And, celebrities are no better than us. You know what I mean? They just have
Mm-hmm.
better paying jobs. They just have better
More
paying
visibility.
jobs,
That's it.
more
More
visibility,
visibility.
but they're not better than us, meaning like they're still human and they still have flaws. And I'm not asking when I say things like that, I don't mean being flawless because I hold people to a standard that I hold myself, but at the same time, I hope I'll never expect it. I won't expect anything from anyone that I won't expect from myself. Meaning, I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I know where my flaws is, and I'll be the first to admit it. And I'm the hardest on myself when I know I did something wrong, so to speak. So I'm not going to go any further than that. But I'm waiting on Kev to get on the line. But let's talk about you right now, Cynthia. How's everything going over there in Tell us a little something about yourself.
Well, everything's good on my end. I literally just left the studio. I was finishing up
Oh, okay.
recording Mr. DJ song that we
Uh-huh.
were talking about.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, the basics, I'm Cynthia. I live in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
Oh.
Aspiring singer, songwriter, yes. I'm working on an album right now with the ID Network. They were really excited to find my bandmix profile, so I've been working with them lately and just
Okay.
making music, and it's been so much fun leading up to this point. Because really, for the longest time, I would write music and make it and stuff, but I wouldn't
Mhm.
perform or do gigs and things like that. But now I'm
Is
coming
that
out of my
by
shell.
choice? Is that by
Stage
choice
fright?
or is that
It
just
was
by
it was by
chance?
choice. I guess you could say I was literally keeping myself in my own jail for the longest time.
Oh, got
Kind
Mm.
you.
of like that.
Got you. And Kev
Yeah.
has joined us
Okay.
now as well, Cynthia. So, Cynthia, I'd like you to meet my other half of my Jedi Council, Kev. He's in the building.
All
Yeah, hey, how
right.
you doing, Cynthia?
Hi. Nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
Yeah, so Cynthia's joining us, obviously, as our guest co-host today. Now, I'm gonna ask you a question real quick too, because we always do this with our guests. We always ask questions first. Not just about yourself. Continuing what you said about you, like performing and stuff. So, what is it about performing that made you hesitant to do it? Because you're already a singer, songwriter, stuff like that. What is there anything about performing that didn't work well with you? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I love performing. Growing up, I was in a singing group with my sisters called the Sweethearts, and so we
Okay.
regularly performed, and mostly in churches. And we did
Mhm.
concerts and things like that. But I think my biggest problem is that I'm super critical of myself.
Mhm.
And there was I really went through a dark time leading up
Mhm.
to now, where it really
Mm.
affected my creativity and my
Oh,
willpower to really
yeah.
move it on forward. So, but
We all go through it. Yeah.
yeah, so but it's
Mhm.
like,
Wow.
if you just push yourself, you just get out there, like you just
Yeah.
stop worrying about this, that, and they, you
Mhm.
just gotta do it. So
Yeah, you got to get out there and
me
do it and
doing it.
performing. And a lot of us, myself, Kev, we both come from a musical background as well, where we were producers and performers ourselves. So yeah, I know the feeling. The first time I ever performed, but actually the first time I performed was funny. It was my worst and best day because I um I was scared to go out on stage because I think it was being filmed for like cable TV or whatever. And I know that a specific channel that I know a lot of people that I know watch this specific channel. So I was like, oh man. And then but we went out and performed, and it was the best feeling ever. And I was like, oh my God, this feeling was great because just seeing people that I don't know. Because see, like the people they gonna support you anyway
Yeah,
most of the
yeah.
time, unless they haters. But other than that, they're gonna support you anyway. But seeing people that you don't know support you is the best feeling ever. And I even felt that way the first time I ever did a film festival. When I did a film festival, when my first film I ever did one, Kev was right there with me. He came, he was in there too at the festival. Um, you screen in front of a bunch of people that you do know when they come out, but also people that you don't know. And a particular film, my first feature film that I did with Kev as well, he was my producer on it. And shout out to Sherman Sawyer. He's the creator and writer of the film, The Trade Off. Well, yeah, he's the writer of the film Trade Off, and we shout out to him. But anyway, we screened in front of a lot of people that knew us and a lot of people that didn't know us, and it was very well received. So that's just my little thing that I'm saying to you when it comes to performing. Once you do it a little more, you're gonna
Yeah.
really love that feeling, And you probably won't want to leave the stage after you get your a certain amount of comfort with it. But it does come with a lot. Only thing I can say to you, not that I'm the biggest expert in the world, but the only thing I can say to you is be prepared. You know, prepare yourself, because no matter what, people will respect you if you come out there and you're prepared and you sound good. And that also goes with uh being picky. Sometimes you may have to turn some things down, because sometimes the venue that you perform in is it makes a difference. Sometimes the venue you perform in makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
So quick, very quick story. The group of Law, R&B group from the 90s. I know them, pretty good friends with a lot of them, and their uncle was their manager at the time. They performed at a venue where they were gonna perform at a venue that other people was performing, and most of the people that were performing were like up and coming indies, and they were like the stars of the night, right? Um, because they had hit records and this, that, and the other. They were doing their thing at that time. My friend, their uncle, shout out to Bruce Penn, he pulled the plug on their performance. He said, "No, we're not performing here," at the last minute, and they were so disappointed. They're like, "Why?" And he said, "Because I've heard the system here." He said the system is bad. They have no side fills on the stage, no monitors, so you can hear yourself. You're talking about a group, so you're harmonizing. You need to be able to hear
Yeah.
yourself. And he said that none of that's on the stage. They just got a mic and speakers going this way. And he said something to me that I'm gonna share with you that's very profound. And you just remember this whenever you do a performance. They don't care why you sound bad. They only know that you sound bad.
That's
All right.
all they know.
That's all they know. They don't care
Okay.
why. You could be like, "Oh, this gentleman is. What's wrong with this mic? This mic is terrible." They don't care.
What
Yeah.
my 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 my,
Yeah,
my
that is
suggestion my suggestion is that you get a good sound person to start rolling with you. Once
Yeah.
you start, especially if you start gigging with other artists and
Yeah.
they're actually using a soundboard,
Yeah.
make sure you have somebody that can go back and be like, no, do a
Yep.
sound, yeah, and show up for your sound checks,
Yep.
show up on time, and please, please, above all things, respect the stage. If your set is supposed to be 18 minutes,
What the hell's going
do
on?
do
Yeah.
17:50. So you give yourself enough time to get off stage, so that way your set can be broken down and the next
Yep.
set can be put together and put back up. There's nothing more disrespectful than causing
It's going
problems with
into
other
somebody
artists.
else's time, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't want that happening to you. And we not trying, like I said, we're not trying to bombard you with stuff. But
No,
that's just
no. I'm
that's our advice when it comes to live performances. And like Kev said, I'm echoing what he said. Uh, try to get a sound guy. Invest in yourself when it comes to microphones. Get a good microphone that you
Yes.
will travel with. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? That
Yeah, yeah.
always have your own microphone. Do not trust the venue.
Don't ever trust
Have
the
your
venue.
own microphone.
Never.
Exactly. Don't ever trust the venue.
Word.
Have your own microphone, and as you can, if you can, I know because everything costs money. If you can, try to eventually have your own sound system with you, because they're not that expensive, and it's not that hard to, like, your audio person that Kev was talking about could be in
Yeah.
charge of that. He could be in charge of that. He or she can be in charge of that. And that way, that no matter what, even if you go to, like, on the highest levels, you ever been to a Jay-Z concert? Jay-Z travels with his entire own stage. Like, meaning, like, obviously he has the money to do that. But my point
Yeah.
is, he when like we went to see him at Madison Square Garden. He did not use Madison Square Garden's sound system. He built his own. Like, they have a own little rig that they put up, and he uses his own sound. And that's why Jay-Z always sounds the same every concert he does. Because, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
okay.
Because sometimes when you put and that's, like I said, shout out to my boy And the law was very upset that night. They were disappointed. They wanted to sing. They're singers, right? They were paid to be there, and he was like, "Yo, we're not doing this." And he's like, "We're not doing it." And I'll tell you why. He spoke to the venue. He said, "You guys, your stage is terrible. You don't have, this is a group. So when a stage is set up, you should have speakers for the audience to hear, but there should be other speakers, which are called monitors, shooting back at you, so you can hear yourself." You know what I'm saying? Because once again, they don't care why you sound bad. They only know you sounded bad, and they remember. And when they remember, what do? They tell the next person, right? They tell the next person, "Yeah, that girl Cynthia performed. Man, she seemed like she was good person, blah blah blah. She looked good up there. I didn't like the way she sounded though. And the system was bad, but I don't know, she sounded a little off." Even if they know the system bad, they're gonna be like, "She sounded a little off, and it may not have been your fault."
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop there because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But
I'm gonna just say this with my musical background. First, I
yeah,
agree with what Kat said. My most important rule is always be on time.
yeah,
Always, right?
yeah.
Always respect that people have invested their money into not only coming to the show to see you, but
Mm-hmm.
also the venue has invested money in yourself and other acts, and showing up
Mm-hmm.
late when it's inexcusable to a large degree. There are times where you just can't avoid it, but
Yeah,
most of the times they can be avoided. But that's my
yeah.
first rule: always be late. My second
No,
is
always be on
but
time. Not
always be
late.
on time. Don't be late. Always be on time. The second, like Wes said, have your road crew that work with you. That's for you. Not only
Mm-hmm.
your sound person, your hair and makeup, your costume designer. If you decide to go that route, they're always
Mm-hmm.
prepared to have multiple things in case something happens to you while you're on stage. In case you say no, I don't feel that way. I don't feel this crowd. They can have your different options of things you want to choose from. But my
Mm-hmm.
third rule is, this is the most important one to me: when you start becoming successful at doing shows and your stature starts becoming larger, watch the crew that you have around you. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people will not be around you because you're Cynthia Sweet, this musical artist. They're around you is like, you're Cynthia Sweet, my money bag, my meal ticket.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to entertainment, will hang around you simply because of the fact they feel they can mooch off you, right? But we get so preoccupied with being on front of that camera, in front of that stage, we're blind to that
Mm-hmm.
particular fact that's even going on until it becomes too late. And when it
Yeah.
becomes too late, that's when it becomes a really big problem, because now it's to the point where you can't just easily dismiss this person out of your life, because now,
Mm-hmm.
as they've gone on with you and you've gotten statue, they've gotten statue. So now the person who might
Mm-hmm.
be like, let's say your roadie, who
Mm-hmm.
everybody see you get now and say, well, wait a minute, isn't he your roadie? Isn't she your roadie? And like, yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
and then it's too late, because now they've
Mm-hmm.
infiltrated themselves into everything else
Yeah.
that you deal with.
Yeah.
I
And that
have
those are the same people. Those are the same people, Ralph, that uh those same people are the ones that let you destroy yourself too.
yep,
They because
and won't
they're afraid to check you. You always keep people and keep your I say keep your circle as small as a Cheerio.
yep
Seriously. Like because what happens is those people, like Ralph said, the yes people, the yes men and the yes women, they're afraid to check you. They're
yep.
afraid to tell you, nah, that's not a good idea. You know what I'm saying? Well, you gonna mess yourself up because they don't want you to get angry with them, and God forbid they lose
You
their
start the
meal
money
ticket.
train. You just start the
Right.
Right,
money train
right.
from going.
And we're speaking to you like this because we already don't even know you, but we see your light. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has an opportunity to become successful in this business if you remain focused. You know what I'm saying? Stay centered and be that.
And check yourself. Be
Right, and
able
The
check
to.
yourself.
ego. Check the
Right.
ego.
So
Absolutely.
that we always say that, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to Romaine. Romaine, he comes from a very, very famous family, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
him and his wife, right? So there's like two sides of two famous families. You got like the family that's connected to the Houstons, and then you got the family that's connected to Smokey Robinson, right? So
Hmm.
two legends on each side of his family, and but Romaine remains very humble person, very nice person, very down to earth person, and everyone from the International Dynasty, everyone from that crew are like that. Then just bring context. Obviously, I said we met through a mutual acquaintance,
Yeah.
and Romaine from International Dynasty and the whole crew is one that how we met. I'm part of their family. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
on that side. I'm pretty much the film division.
Yeah.
So when you ready to shoot a video, he gonna send you to me. So um
Period. I love him.
right, that's how it is. But yeah, so that's all it is. Words of wisdom from the Jedi Council.
No, these are
And
gems. Thank you
you know what I
for
mean? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because I had
And
no clue about a lot
anybody
of stuff.
yeah. Anybody from you just beginning to a multi-platinum artist should have at one point. Sometimes they break the rules, especially being late. But you know, they've all followed these rules and it made them successful. And it's not even that expensive no more either. Like, for you to invest in a microphone and invest in, a person that knows sound, you know what I'm saying? Especially nowadays, it's like everything is done through, portable stuff, computers, things like that. It's nothing to do that. You having your own microphone is such
Yeah.
a big deal. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
because you know
If
how
you
you
ever see if
sound.
you ever see pictures of Prince when he was on stage, he had a custom made microphone that went with him everywhere. He didn't care
Everywhere
who
he went.
stage he was on. It
You
looks
never
like a
say.
gun, but he had it, and I think it was
Hmm.
purple. But he had it no matter
Yeah, he
what.
had it
No
purple.
matter
He had different
what.
colors ones. Yeah.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
matter where he went, that microphone went with him. He could be at a party and so he like plop, open up the briefcases right there. He
Yeah,
ready to
yeah.
go. I'm not
They all
saying
do
we gotta
that.
get
So
to that point, but
yeah, yeah.
but that's definitely the rule of
Once
thumb.
you start performing more, you'll notice that. And like what Kev mentioned, and then I'm gonna end it here. What Kev mentioned about you perform with different, because a lot of these artists out there, like there's a lot of bands and stuff like that. They are great professional artists, and you may have never met them in your life, but they'll be able to catch on to the music that you're doing and music that you're playing because that's what they do, right? Sometimes, like most of these artists, when you go and perform in a band and it's like a house band, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, if not all of them, probably when they're not doing that, they're touring with Jay-Z or they're touring with Mary J. Blige or they're touring with Beyonce. That's what they do. Like this, like they do smaller venues,
Just to keep sharp.
just yeah,
Just to
stay
keep
sharp.
sharp.
That's
Yeah.
it. It's just like anything else, just like comedians. Comedians stay sharp. Eddie Murphy is one of the biggest comedians ever, but he'll never do a stand-up comedy show again until he goes what he calls work out, go to the little comedy clubs and stay sharp.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So
That's
that's what it is. But anyway, going forward. Now today, like we said, we'll start off with this. Oh, I'm gonna do my weekend recap. I always do this. The weekend recap is brought to you by BoxOfficeMojo.com for the weekend of March 24th through the 26th. This is the top 5 movies, and number 5 is 65. Made 3.2 million this weekend, bringing the total to a kind of a low $48 million worldwide. So that movie has not been doing well, but we'll get back to that. Number 4 is Scream 6, that made another 8.3 million this weekend. Made a couple of bucks off of me because I went to see it, and that brings the total to 139 million worldwide. Not bad at all for Scream. And then Shazam: Fury of the Gods, 9.3 million. Also made a couple bucks off of me this weekend, and that brings a
That is
total.
a disaster. That is a
That is
disaster.
yeah. That's a big flop, but it finally made it reached over 100 million worldwide. Well, I guess over this weekend, put it because at 101 million. Creed 3 at number 2 made 10.4 million over this weekend, brings the total to 246 million worldwide.
Not bad.
And obviously, right, we're not bad. And John Wick Chapter 4, number 1, which opened this weekend, and it's already at 137 million worldwide, 73 million domestic. It opened March 24th. So John Wick is on a good, which I also saw this weekend, on a good pace right now. And that is your weekend recap brought to you by BoxOfficeMojo.com. You are watching and listening to Real Talk with Director and the Jedi Council. Guess who's the director? That's me. And here's my Jedi Council with me, and we have our guest Cynthia Sweet with us. So, moving forward, first topic of the day. Okay, there is a pending writers' strike, right? And when I say the writers, I mean the Hollywood writers, the ones that are, because Hollywood, just like they do everything else, they use a lot of the same writers. When they always want to go with what's successful. So if this writer wrote a successful movie, more than likely to go back to them. But at the grand scheme of things, writers are mostly freelance, but they just got contracts with different studios. So anyway, there's right now pending a pending strike that that's like the writers are wanting, they're in talks with the studios and the Directors Guild and all of this stuff. The Writers Guild represent the writers, right? They're the union for the writers. They're in talks with Directors Guild and other ones, and Producers Guild and all of the other studios, because they would like to, renegotiate, because their last bargaining agreement ends, I believe it said like May 7th, or it's like it ends in May of this year. So they're trying to renegotiate their contracts so they can have better pay, not just better pay, better perks, better what's the word I'm looking for? Benefits. Okay, when it comes to writing films, because and that actually segues to the other part of this thing. They mentioned in this bargain agreement, I talked about at the top of the show about artificial intelligence, right? There are artificial intelligence right now as we speak, and I'm pretty sure there's plenty more ones that I experienced myself that literally can threaten to replace writers altogether. Okay, and I just did some more digging, and actually I didn't know this before I did more research. That's part of the writers agreement. They're looking to deal with the studios, and basically, I'm paraphrasing, but they basically don't want the studios to replace them with artificial intelligence. So they're trying to work out how they can make that work in their next agreement with the studios. They're trying to see how they can make that work with the next agreement with the studios. And yeah, so that is looming right now. I'm going to get everybody's comment on it, but here's the deal. Just so you don't, just for people who don't know, so I'm not going to name the program, but there's a program that I was using over the weekend that it's an artificial intelligence that you literally can type in pretty much whatever you want, okay, and it will spit out. If you want a screen, it does other things too, not just screenplays. But if you want a screenplay, it will spit out. If I said, "Hey, write a screenplay about this," I want one of those films in the style of what was that movie? Beyond the Lights, right? That movie Beyond the Lights, in the style of Beyond the Lights, about an artist named Cynthia Sweet who's just coming up. She's a pop artist, or she's an R&B artist, and she, an R&B artist who's turned pop, whatever you want to put in there. And literally, the artificial intelligence will take that and they will spit out a script in the style of Beyond the Lights and with you as the main character. And it's scary. It was amazing and scary at the same time. Like, I was looking at it like, wow. Because there's an example that they give, and you'll never believe this. That's why I have to say it on air. The example, like the example of how intelligent this artificial intelligence is basically said, write a paragraph where every word begins with another letter of the alphabet from A to Z without repeating the letter. And exactly what it did, it wrote a paragraph and it started with A, and then the next word started with B, the next word started with C, and it made sense all the way from the paragraph from A to Z in this paragraph. And it made sense. That's scary.
That's very
That's
scary.
that's scary. So my
Wow.
I guess the main thing to everyone is with this strike looming, and they're like I said, they may strike. They're talking now, so they don't. But with the strike looming, how much how much leverage do you feel the writers may have? Because I'm gonna get y'all answers, then I'm gonna give you more context on how I'm gonna break down to y'all how writers why they want more. They want residuals pay, right? Because they don't normally get that. They do, but not with streaming, right? Because streaming is now the new thing, right? So like if let's say the Big Bang Theory, right? The writer of the Big Bang Theory premiered and played on CBS, right? It's also syndicated on, like TBS or, TNT or something like that, right? And wherever else is syndicated. The writer of the Big Bang Theory, let's just say a specific episode or several episodes, they will get residual pay for a syndicated episode, right? However,
And
the
DVD
Big
sales.
Bang,
DVD
right,
sales.
and DVD sales. However, the Big Bang Theory is on Netflix, or right now it's currently on HBO Max, and you watch it, they will not get residuals off of that. So I don't care how many times you can watch it 1 billion times, and they get no extra money from that. So this is part of their new agreement. They want to be able to get residuals from streaming, right? And of course, remember, Big Bang Theory has what, 20 something episodes a season? There's more opportunity to make money. That's not the case with streaming, right? If you get on a show that's on the streaming, you get 10 episodes if you're lucky, right? So it's less opportunity. So that's why I'm gonna stop talking. But I want y'all to think about, how do you feel the writers may have advantage or not in this agreement? Do you think they'll be able to get something done before May 1st? That's the actual day the agreement ends, the previous agreement. That's the first question. Ralph, what do you think?
Yes, they'll get a deal done. Yes, the writers of older TV series that are now available on streaming service, they do have leverage because I'm looking at the same scenario as to older series when before you had VHS sales, or when the writers came up, they were I think it was writers. They were able to get a deal because of the music licensing, like the people that did the music for certain shows. Let's say like Miami
Mhm.
Vice. Once
Yeah.
Miami Vice was on television, like Jay Hammer and Phil Collins, they got paid for that one. But when they started being sold on VHS tapes, that was something that was not thought of when the original deal was signed. So this is the
Yeah.
same streaming. When you signed the last deal, streaming was not prevalent. Now that it is prevalent, of course,
Yeah.
yes, you deserve that one. Now, as far as the AI thing, that's a different subject. I don't know if there's anything that the writers could do to stop that from happening. I honestly don't, because I mean, if you, because I think the question with that one boils down to this: even if the AI wrote a script that was in, like you said, Beyond the Light style with Cynthia, would the studio or the production company want the script? Because it would be, to me, it would sound very generic. Whereas if someone wrote it, they could put inflections or their own personal touch on it to give Cynthia more of a it'd be more of a well-rounded
Mhm.
version of who she is compared to what the computer thinks that
Right.
she is. So I
Right.
think
No,
on
that's
that
that's a that's
subject,
a great that's a great question. Go ahead, finish your question. I want
yeah,
to address that, and then we'll go to Cynthia and
yeah.
get her opinion on it.
Yeah, so I think on that particular subject, I don't think the writers can do. I don't think they have much of a leg to stand on to stop that from happening. Now, or to put into in a new contract a clause saying, well, if a computer wrote it, it has to be reviewed, or I don't think they have too much to say about that
Mhm.
because that's going to happen
Well,
anyway. But
well,
like I
here's
said,
my
at the end of the
yeah
day,
yeah.
but at the end of the
I
day,
want
with that
go
choice,
ahead.
it boils down to the production company or the studio if they want to accept it and go ahead. Because the way I'm seeing it, let's just sit there and say what you said was right, and they gave Cynthia a thing, and the producer looked at it and said, well, this very generic is not really Cynthia. Now you got to rewrite the script of what the computer wrote to make it more
Hmm.
well-rounded. So why pay the extra money to do that? We could just write the script
Hmm.
ourselves. So that's how I see that part.
Okay. So before I go to Cynthia's reaction, so here's my answer to that. What what I see could possibly happen, and I hope it doesn't. But what I see can possibly happen is no one's going to be completely replaced by a computer. However, I see even the veterans and older writers, even though they're established, because they're established, you have to pay them. They're going to expect more money. I could see the studios replacing them with new younger writers coming out of college, whatever, that's more tech savvy that can actually manipulate this AI to be, because you can manipulate it to be more customized. You can customize it. It's not just like write me a story with Cynthia as the main character and then they write you that story. They're gonna see that, but you can literally, after they spit that first bit of data out to you, because that's all it is, right? Data. After they spit that first data out to you, you can go back and say, well, and add more detail to it and say, well, there's a, and now rest assured, you gotta remember, it's still going to spit out the perfect formatted script. It's going to be a 3-act structure. It's going to have story arcs. It's going to have everything that's in a 3-act structure, rising tension, climax, resolution, all of that's in there, right? Because they know the structure of a script. So all of the twists, turns, what's the word it's called? I can't think of the name right now. That it's technical term for it, but it's basically you got
Oh,
inciting
plot
event,
development.
plot twist. That's the word I was looking for. Plot twist. You got inciting event, um, rising action, plot twist. All of that stuff is part of what's called the 3-act structure and the hero's journey, right? So it's like the hero's journey is basically all of that's a part of that, right? All that's going to be in there. It's just a matter of you customizing it, saying if let's just say like and I keep using Cynthia as the subject. So let's just say okay, like you said, the person who writing it might say no, Cynthia the artist, she's a little more like this, right? Like description, let's just say, because they're going to describe her however they want to, right? You have to give them that data. You have to
Yeah.
say she is this, she has long hair, it's curly, it's dark, blah blah blah. Skin tone is this. You have to give them that detail, and they'll describe her like that in the script. So that was my answer to you, but I want to see what Cynthia thinks about it overall.
Honestly, I mean, I agree with Ralph. Like, I feel
Mhm.
like even though AI, like okay, I saw a podcast, my backtrack. I saw a
Mhm.
podcast where these two guys, they used this AI thing and like
Mhm.
were creating stories, and
Mhm.
it was pretty crazy. It's kind of raw at times, but if you give it those details, like it will at some point give you a little bit more of what you want. But I honestly feel like how far can AI go to like where the point where it could replace writers, like human
Mhm.
writers? I feel like it can only go
Mhm.
so far. You'd still have to do
Mhm.
revisions,
Yeah,
editing and
yeah,
stuff. I mean,
yeah. I agree.
they even have artificial intelligence that's making music, making
Yeah, I
songs,
noticed
like
that too. I
AI
saw that
artists.
too. Straight up
Hmm.
make it yeah,
Yeah.
all the way to the artist itself. They got software that writes songs for you. They got software that writes music for you. You can literally put in that software, write me a song in the style of Drake, and it'll write it for
Oh
you.
Lord, can you pick somebody
It's
better?
Well,
freaky.
Oh,
I'm just
well, I'm sorry.
anybody.
I'm sorry. Did I say that out? Oh, did I say that loud?
Uh,
I thought that was in my head.
well,
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, the bottom
I
line
missed it. I
is
wish I
Drake,
heard it.
Drake, Drake sells millions of records or streams, whatever you want to call it. So he's a successful rapper. So if you want to in your mind want to be successful, you may say, make me a song like Drake. I wouldn't, but I'm just saying some people would because they're just trying to follow,
Wes. I got
especially non-creative people. This tech, I believe, is for non-creative people. Now, creative people can use it to their advantage because, like I said, I was playing with it over the weekend, and I said, okay, let me test something out. I have this movie thing outline, and I already did what's called a beat sheet, right, which is basically like an outline of your movie. And I asked the AI, I said, write me a beat sheet based on blah 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 blah. I just wanted to see if it came up with things that was close to what I came up with when I did my own beat sheet. And to be honest with you, it did, which was scary. Like it came up with the same type of ideas that I came up with. Not everything, because I didn't put all my details in. Because I still don't trust all that. I'm like, somebody's looking at it. Actually, they even tell you on the site, don't put anything sensitive information in here on this site because our developers look at this. They do tell you that. So you don't want to put too much sensitive information in there.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? They said because they're still developing, like it's constantly being developed. There's two versions of. There's a program version of it, and then there's an online version of it, which is like more like almost like a chat if you're chatting with someone, but you just literally put that in and it spits that stuff out. But it does say, please do not put sensitive information in here on the database because our developers and trainers they do review some of this information. So but I just wanted to test it. And I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely amazed by it. And I being a creative thought about how can I use this to help me? You know what I'm saying? Maybe save some keystrokes or save some time, but at the same time, it's my ideas, it's my thought, it's my creativity. And I'm still trying to figure that out because I don't know. But the point is, what you're saying, I do agree with both of you to a degree. There's gonna have to be some sort, but there's gonna be some humans that have to control it and feed the input. But my thing was, does it necessarily have to be the humans that they were employing before? Because now you can get a younger human that you pay less money to that still is a screenwriter, right? Because they might be fresh out of college, fresh out of school or film school, and they can combined with the AI technology can give you, because technically, a style is not a copyrightable thing. So you can literally say, "Hey, I'm not gonna pay Shane. What's his name? Shane West, not Shane West. Shane Black. I'm not gonna pay Shane Black $1 million to write me another Lethal Weapon. I'm gonna pay Shane White over here out of college to use the AI technology to write me a Lethal Weapon type of film, right?" And put it out there.
So messed up.
Yeah, it's messed up. I'm playing devil's advocate, but to be honest with you, I'm that's what I fear for the writers. And now that May 1st is right around the corner, and that's the end of their current agreement. They're basically asking. I'm gonna try to find what they said word for word, but they're basically asking the bargaining partners to not use the AI technology. Do you think that's going to happen?
No.
No. It's the same. I look at it the same way as the way special effects have progressed over the years, from the green screen to now CGI. It's just the progression. You can't stop the progression, but at the end of the day, same thing with CGI.
Yeah.
The director could sit there and say, "Hey, okay, I'm going to do this Iron Man movie, and I got Iron Man flying. Would it be easier, or do I weigh the cost of having an artificial version of Iron Man flying through the sky in CGI, or would it be better for me to actually build the suit, have someone in the suit against a green screen, and make it look like that it's flying?" You weigh the cost, in that case, and then also with something like that, you have a safety factor. I don't think that a script that is CGI generated, for example, AI generated, I just don't think it's going to pack the same type of emotional punch because, as I said, it's a very generic script. Like it very well be the nuts. It could very well be the basic nuts and bolts of a movie, but
Yeah.
the thing missing from it is the heart and the emotional package that the
Right.
computer can't put into the screen. So, like for example, like the Bodyguard, they very well could give you a version of the Bodyguard, right?
Mm-hmm.
A sequel to the Kevin Costner when he's moving, but it's going to give you the basic thing of he's a bodyguard protecting somebody. But what about an emotional punch in there? Whether it is the love story between him and whoever he's guarding, or the kid, or anything like that part of the
Right.
movie is not going to be in there.
Now I'm still playing devil's advocate, but I'm gonna push back on you on that, Ralph, because the actual emotional punch comes from the actors. Now, the actual the arc and the the factor that there's a love story, this or that, that's in the writing, and it does that. I witnessed it do it. It does that. Like I said, when I did the beat sheet is to outline it from every 3 acts, right? I mean, all 3 acts is bullet points of what the movie is about from beginning to end, right? I watched the beat sheet that he put that the AI spit out, and it had in there uh main character, get love interest, blah 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 blah. Like it had all that stuff. So see,
Yeah,
there's a formula to
I
writing.
don't.
There's a formula to writing scripts, and that's never changed. So the part that in the Bodyguard, that the whole thing about him falling in love, or them falling in love, which was a surprise, wasn't supposed to happen. That's in the script, but the way they deliver it is really how the emotion is brought out. So really, you don't need the AI to give you that. It's just going to give you the facts of, and that's
but
part
but that
of a
wait,
3 act
wait, wait,
structure.
but that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's going to give you the facts. Like if let's say it was my movie and Cynthia was my girlfriend in the movie, it gives me the fact that you meet her, you talk to
You
her.
just bringing
And,
Cynthia in every
no, I'm
movie.
saying no because no, I'm saying, but
Yeah,
the
I know.
computer
I'm just joking
would just
with
give
you.
you that way. It would just give you the initial meeting, a date, and eventually
Right.
maybe sex, and then whatever else. But all the stuff in between there that makes up the relationship is not in the computer. Can't account for that. It's just going to give you the
I mean,
basic generic, a very
no, it's
generic.
gonna write the script though. It's gonna write, if there's a scene in the beat sheet that says this represents when Cynthia and Ralph fell in love in the movie. It's the part that represented. They're gonna write that. They're gonna write that with dialogue and everything. It does it. There's like dialogue. Now it's gonna write its version, and of course the humans can step in after the pretty much the whole script is written and say, oh, let's change this, let's change that. But do you really need all these writers to do that? You see what I'm saying? You can step in and say,
It
"Yo,
depends.
nah, I want to
I
take
would
you."
say
You can look at
I
that
would.
same script you're talking about and be like, "Nah, I wouldn't do nothing like that." We ain't go bowling. We went roller skating. You know what I'm saying? So you gonna change it to roller skating, or we didn't walk. We didn't walk in the we didn't walk in the city. We walked on the beach. And you're going to change that. That's all that needs to be changed in a script. How it's projected to the audience is how the actors do it. That's on the
I
actors.
go with that, but see me, I just think that it'd be a very generic. You just give me the nuts and bolts, but all the oomph to it that and yeah, right. A large part of it is because of the actors, the way they perform the dialogue. I grant that, but I just don't see beyond the fact that this is just a progression in the business. As I don't I can't see someone like Spielberg saying, going to this and say, okay, write me out a script, and I'm just going to direct what the computer gives me. I don't right now, at least for right now, I don't see any top directors going and saying, hey,
Yeah.
just do this for you. Now with that being said, if there is a director that takes a chance and directs it word by word, and it turns to make $1 billion, and say people say, hey, because Hollywood is very monkey see, monkey do business.
Yeah.
Say, well, if this guy could do it, we could do it too.
Yeah.
So I think for
Yeah.
right now, it's I think that question is a wait and see
Mm.
thing. But
Yeah.
now as far as getting more money for your scripts and the other ways that it's presented,
Mhm.
I'm with the writers. Yes, you
Oh,
should
I'm
get
I'm with the
you
writers
you should
all
get
the
come.
way. Yeah, I'm
all
with
the
the
way.
writers all the way with that. I think that and I'm gonna read this little excerpt right out of the article. It says it's like seeing a bunch of okay, so they says here, additionally with the rise of streaming, or this is the part we talked about streaming. The rise of streaming, there are often fewer episodes in a show season than before. Shows that run on broadcast networks typically include more than 20 episodes in a season. That's not the case with the shows when it comes to being on Netflix. Netflix doesn't order that many episodes. And then that person says what they says there. Being a working writer is much harder these days. This is one of the writers talking. The level of compensation, the treatment, the expectations, and all fundamentally different than they were, right? Then it says, and with artificial intelligence revolution being set into motion, the guild, meaning like the Writers Guild, the guild is also asking for studios to establish standards around the use of the technology. It wants the use of AI regulated in terms of material created for the studios. Now, do you think they're going to get that?
No, like I said, it's the same thing with CGI. Same thing.
Right.
And now that you said that, now because I always like to look at both sides. Here's the part of the
Yeah.
studios for this whole thing with streaming. If you
Right.
have the writers of Big Bang Theory that say, well, okay, listen, our show now is being streamed on HBO Max, so we should get extra money for that one.
Right.
Okay, but if you're a producer of Stranger Things, should you get compensated the exact same way that the producers, or I mean, that the writer of the Big Bang Theory is? Because your particular show is only on one service. It's not on regular television. It is not on DVD. It is not anywhere else except Netflix. So should you be compensated the same amount of money as the person that wrote something like The Big Bang Theory that has multiple different platforms? I think that's going to be the sticking point right there.
That's interesting. Well, what about the veteran writers that have written for television, and now, as we know, yeah, television's still around, but streaming, if let's just say movies get back to what it was, streaming may not hurt the movies as much if it gets back to movies, but it's gonna definitely hurt television because no one wants to watch television anymore because they want to stream, they want to binge, they want to
No,
see stuff with
no.
less commercials or no commercials whatsoever. And that's why all of the major networks have created streaming services.
That's not the argument I said.
Uh,
What I said was, let's sit there and say, person that wrote the Big Bang Theory, that he wrote 40 episodes of Big Bang Theory, okay, and currently he's getting, I don't know, let's say he's getting $20 an episode, okay.
Right.
So now he's saying, well, now because my show is now being streamed on HBO Max, I should get an extra 20. I should now make $40 an episode.
Oh, because it's less episodes. Is that what you're talking about?
No, not that. It's not because of the fact that now you have a show that was on commercial television that is now streaming. So you should be fairly compensated for that one. But if you're a screenwriter that wrote something that's specifically on streaming services where you do have less episodes and it's only on that streaming service, it's not available anywhere else, should you be entitled to make the same amount of money as this person? Because this person has a legitimate gripe. The show I did is in another format, so I should be compensated for it. You only have this show in one format, so why should you make the exact same amount of money as this person? I think that would be a sticking point, because a lot of these shows that are on streaming are only on the streaming network. That they're not on commercial television, right? They're not on cable, and they're not on another platform like DVD or Blu-ray. They're not on it. They're strictly on.
Well,
Netflix,
right. It
Hulu,
depending, right. If you're talking like a Netflix original, but some shows will be available other places. So the same thing with that is, if you're the writer of the Big Bang Theory, the Big Bang Theory is on all these other networks and you're getting money from it, but then it goes to Netflix and you're not getting money from it. Should you ask for more money?
But no, of course you should, because it's going to another platform. I'm on with that.
Right.
But if you're the writer that wrote Wednesday, and Wednesday is only on Netflix. It's
Right,
not
that's a
going anywhere
Netflix
else.
original,
Right?
exactly.
Should you be making the same amount of money as this person who has it, who
With
wrote this
this.
show that is available in
Hmm.
multiple formats? That's a
Yeah,
different
that's what you think
question.
is going to be the issue. What's your thoughts on it,
I
Cynthia?
think that's going to be a sticking point.
Since you're the
Ah,
subject of all of our movies, what's your thoughts on it?
honestly, I don't know the details on how writers get paid on like streaming
No, that's
services
fine.
versus TV and
Hmm.
DVD and things like that. But one thing I do know is that streaming services are, it seems like they're monopolizing the industry because
They
that
are.
is like the go-to, at least for me and my
The
friends and
entire
stuff. All we
generation.
do is stream.
Yeah,
We stream
yeah.
music, we
I'm
stream
assuming your
movies,
entire generation and beyond.
yeah, binge
That is
shows.
their go-to. That's pretty much what it's gonna be.
So
Yeah. I
yeah.
haven't even myself since I got into streaming, and Kev is the same thing. Kev is the same thing. We have. I don't know if he still has cable. I don't think he does. We have not paid for cable in years. That's
Yeah.
it. I mean, I do pay cable company for my internet, but for my internet connection. But I haven't paid for cable television nor watched it in quite a few years. And
Yeah.
if I don't miss anything, if unless it's in the movies. Other than that, anything that comes on television or would come on television, I don't miss it because I pay for the streaming services, and I don't need to watch CBS. I have Paramount Plus. I don't need to
Yeah.
watch CBS. You know what I'm saying? I don't
Yeah.
need to watch NBC. I have Peacock. You know what I'm saying? So when the NFL uh football night in America comes on NBC at the same time, I can watch it on Peacock. So I don't need to watch NBC. Anything that comes on there, I watch that. Now I got the Fox app. I don't need to watch Fox. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, yes, you're right. The streaming services is monopolizing or becoming that they force the hands of the networks to create their own streaming
Yeah.
because they know that no one's watching the network.
Yeah.
They
Well,
yeah.
I'm not 1,000% agreeing with that one. I think streaming service certainly has given people more opportunities, but there are still shows that come on that are on network television that people do still watch that may later on become on streaming services. But as I said, that's not my. I'm all with that one. My thing is the reverse. If you have a show that is exclusively on a streaming service, right?
Right.
Like I said, Wednesday is not coming to DVD or Blu-ray, at least
No.
anytime right now.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
You're not going to go on Peacock or Fox or ABC and see Wednesday pop up there. So
Right.
should the writer that wrote that be compensated the same way as someone that
Uh-huh.
did write the Big Bang Theory, and you can see it
Gotcha.
on CBS and streaming and
Mhm.
and syndication, and that's Wednesday's not even going in syndication. So that
Right.
guy said, "Well, we got that part. We got nothing. We're going to give you like $45 per episode." Should this person that just
Mm.
wrote this thing less episodes also should they be compensated with the same $45 per episode? Because once
Right.
again, it's only on one platform. You're not seeing it
Right.
anywhere else.
And you
Now,
feel
if you
that's
want,
going to be a big talking point in their
I do feel it's gonna be
discussions.
time because I remember the same way as when it came to the music rights. When these artists signed because and I was just talking about this the other day. If you go back in time, 70s, 80s, when you saw TV shows that had original music in it, right? Like Knight Rider, for example. Knight Rider would have modern songs in it, but they weren't by the actual artist. They were by somebody else doing like a karaoke version of that song. It wasn't until Miami Vice came along where you had artists that you actually had the actual song that you heard on the radio or MTV when you really heard it in it. And now that's become kind of like a staple with like TV shows. They'll
Mhm.
actually play the actual song. They won't get a
Song.
generic version of it. But when
Right.
their contract came up, that was one of the things that the songwriters said, hey, wait a minute, because that's still our original work. And now you're taking these TV shows, you're putting them onto the
Oh
VHS,
yeah.
you're putting them on the DVD. We
Oh
need to be
yeah.
compensated for it. That's why and even with the degree movies,
And that's
there are
also a publishing thing too. The people who
right.
write the song, the publishing, There's certain that's
They want to
sync
be
rights. It's called
compensated. Right.
synchronization rights is what it's called. All right.
And now,
So
now there are some movies out there that if you saw it in the movie, like Larry gave an example, which I didn't know. Love at First Bite, right? It has a song in it, but when they went to DVD, that
it went
song is
to
not on the
wasn't there.
DVD.
Yeah,
It's not
I
there.
love the
Same thing with
nightlife.
Dawson.
You're talking about
I know, like,
I love the
yeah,
nightlife.
I know, like,
Yeah, I
same thing
remember
with
that.
like
I
Dawson's
was
Creek.
pissed. I
Same
was
thing with
pissed
Dawson's
when we
Creek.
got and we had in Love at First Bite is an old show,
Good
it's an
movie.
old movie, Cynthia. But you probably
Okay.
haven't seen it because But but um it wasn't even on DVD back then. It was on VHS when we
Right.
got it. And when we got a copy of it on VHS,
It's there.
um
It's
is
there on the VHS.
it's
It
there
is
on the VHS, but
on
it
the
is not on
VHS.
the
It
DVD.
is not on the DVD. But it's the same
It's
thing
Wow,
so
with
that's
ugly.
Dawson's Creek.
crazy.
If anybody ever saw the show Dawson's Creek, it has that song that's like super famous. I Want to Run Away.
Yeah.
But when it went to DVD, the song was there. But when it went to the streaming service, the artist that wrote it said, "Hey, wait a minute, you guys need to compensate me for that."
So they pulled it.
Because
They
they
didn't
didn't
want to
want to
pay him.
compensate, so they said, "You know what? Then
We'll
when
just
you put it
replace
on
it.
streaming service, you can't use that song in there." So now you see Dawson Creek, and it doesn't have that original song in it anymore. Now I don't know if that's been settled
Wow.
yet. Now, I mean, come on, that song opens the show. So
Yeah,
all them
you literally put that. We have tournaments a lot, Cynthia, and we're about to have our next tournament's going to be like famous theme songs. Like I would expect to probably put that song in that
yeah,
tournament
that's on
because
there.
it's a famous theme song. You know
Wow.
what I mean? So it's just like saying the Friends theme song, even though that I don't know if they wrote that for Friends, but it's a group. That's a song. You hear that? You can
Yeah.
hear that on the radio, right?
Yep.
It's like them saying, okay, we don't want to pay those artists, so we're gonna take the Friends theme song and replace it. It's like, and it's
And
not
like
called
replace it
Friends,
with
it's called
something else.
I'll
That
Be
that
There
just
for You or whatever. So it's like,
yeah.
what? Yeah, that's wild. But all in all,
And that's the sad part. But I mean, I like I said, once again, artist is artist. No matter what type of art you do, you should be compensated for work. But however, if you're not doing the same kind of work that the other person is doing, sorry, you can't get compensated. Listen. What's his name? The quarterback for the Chiefs, right? That guy's, I think he's on a contract for close to what, $500 million, right?
He earned it.
He earned it. He earned it. But I get the quarterback? Do I get the quarterback for the Giants the same kind of deal? Hell no. They play the same
No, of
position.
course. They play the
Of
same
course they do. They
position.
play the exact
And
same position, but they not in the same stratosphere. So no,
Yeah.
the Giant quarterback should not be compensated the same way as the Chiefs quarterback.
As Chiefs court. No,
That's a bad analogy.
That is
I
not a bad
agree.
analogy.
I agree with I know where you're going with it. Now, me and Kev talked about this offline about the AI part, and I just gave some more context that actually what I didn't know when we had our conversation, Kev, was the actual the writers actually did mention that's in their negotiation requests that the studios regulate the use of artificial intelligence, which they have there. Uh, I don't know how that's gonna work, but
What does that but what does that even mean? We
what?
request that the industry regulates the use.
Yeah, it
Now,
means.
see,
Look, I'm gonna read. Wait. Let me read this one more time, Kev. This is from the article that I was reading about. Some the Writers Guild talking. They said the guild has advised members that the initial talks is in 2 weeks. So it says here, with the artificial intelligence revolution being set into motion, the Matrix, baby. With the artificial revolution being set into motion, the guild is also asking for studios to establish standards around the use of the technology. It wants the use of AI regulated in terms of material created for the studios. So in other words, that's exactly what it means. They don't want you to. They want it regulated. Not, I guess that's going to have to be worked out to what degree do you want it regulated. But they're basically trying to nip this in the bud before it becomes a problem
I mean,
where
no,
they
no.
feel like,
Basically, no.
yeah.
Let's be clear on what they're saying. What they're saying is okay. We want it regulated when the use
And it
of
says
when a
in the
story.
terms of
Uh,
material created for the studios.
well,
That's
here's
their
here's
exact request.
well, what they're actually asking for is okay. Uh, if this movie was created by AI, it shouldn't be up for an Oscar.
But why? What if it's created by AI and you have great actors and they perform it? Because at the end of the day,
No, no,
maybe
but
not up for an Oscar for maybe for screenplay, maybe I don't know, but it that doesn't mean that the movie won't become a good movie. What I was saying to Ralph was this: this is the problem, and I'm playing devil's advocate, but at the same time, I'm saying this is the issue from me playing with it personally, like you know, um, the artificial intelligence of it, the engine, whatever it is intelligent enough to it doesn't just spit something out for you and that's it, and it doesn't just it's based on like any any computer. It's based on the input that you give it. So yes, it is doing the work for you, but you could literally put in all your original ideas and details, right? And it spits and it just really just types it for you, so to speak. And then you could go back after that, take the script and make, edit it and make little, edits and points like that. But the bottom line is there's only one real way to write a script, and that's with a 3-act structure. And that never changes on every script in Hollywood. So my point is those elements of the 3-act structure is not going to be missing. What Ralph was bringing up about the human element or the emotional element, something like that. That stuff written is not going to be missing. Now it's about how the actors act
You know
as
what?
far as the rest
Wait a
of
minute.
it go.
I got something to say about that. It's like because it's on television right now, right? How you said it's not going to be missing because sometimes the emotional element maybe improvised, but like Avengers is on, and sorry, Endgame when he says on your left, I'm going to really seriously doubt that a computer would have thought to put that line in the script.
Mhm.
You know,
But you're missing what I'm saying.
no,
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 a
no.
computer a
I get it.
computer won't think to put that line in the script. However, if you tell it to, it will.
Well, of course,
That's my point.
And here's the thing, Ralph.
the computer
Again,
will
that's
say
not a
anything that
good.
you want it to say.
But Ralph, that's not a good um.
Example.
That's not a good example because on your left became it became a thing because as the movies progressed, they kept that
That was a
as
that
a
was that was a fan service thing. That was a play off of a
exactly.
previous movie. So with that being
It
said, based
is.
on how yes, based on that's based off of Captain
Look,
America the Winter Soldier, I think. Or
yeah,
yeah, the
yeah. At the
Winter
beginning,
Soldier.
yeah, Captain America.
That was from
Oh, I didn't know that.
that was
I didn't know that
right.
part.
Yeah, that's
At
something
least I didn't
between
realize that part.
right. That's something between Captain America and what's his name? Falcon, right?
Falcon.
They were, it was a playoff for that. So if you watch that film, you'll see they was, Cap was jogging and passing him. They were jogging together, and Cap kept running circles around him and passing him, and Cap would say, "On your left, on your left, on your left." But then later on in the movie, when Cap ended up it was someone ended up in hospital. I think was Cap in the hospital or something like that. Something
Hmm.
happened, and then he
He
said,
woke he
"I'm on
woke
your
up to
left."
him on your left. Yeah.
He woke up to him on your left. So therefore, that line is the reason why everyone, if you ever watch the reactions on YouTube, right? The reason why the theater went crazy at that part, because most of the people that are fans of the whole series knows what that meant. That was a callback to another movie
Oh, see,
on
We
your left.
we we
I never realized that. I never
Right.
realized that.
we cried because that was
Yeah,
that.
we was crying,
Listen,
but
my daughter's mother And when he said that line, she passed the tissues over to me when he said that line.
Because I do same deal. That and of course Avengers Assemble, because he never got a chance to say that in the previous
Well,
movie.
I
He
knew
was about
Avengers
to say it
Assemble,
and they cut
and
it
they
off,
went to
right?
black. I knew
It went to
Avengers
black.
Assemble, but I did not know
We're nerds,
on your left
Cynthia. You
what
know,
was through was through.
It's
Just like
okay.
Star Wars, whenever they say, "No, I got a bad feeling about this." I got a
yeah,
bad.
exactly.
I got a
Or,
bad
yeah.
feeling about this. It's through all the Star Wars movies. Somebody says I got a bad feeling
And
about this.
someone says I got a bad. Yeah, but so anyway, neither here nor there. Um, I get what you're saying, Ralph, but all I'm trying to say is I think those are elements that can be fixed still using the AI intelligence, because you have to keep, like I said, instead of keeping the, Shane Black, I can get Shane White, the young man out of Full Sail, to say, you know what? I can write this film using this artificial intelligence, or film like this using this artificial intelligence. Then I'll jump in and make the. So now they don't have to pay Shane Black $1 million. They can pay Shane White,
Yeah,
a
but
100,000.
honestly, you can do that now. Before you had the thing with artificial intelligence, you could have did that yesterday.
No, you can do that with that, but what I'm saying is this turns it out. But now here's the difference. Young Shane White, who uses the artificial intelligence, can probably bang you out 10 scripts in a month. That's the
And at that point, the only thing you're doing at that point with Shane White is you're taking his 10 scripts and you're just taking them and adding nuance to it.
Yeah,
Like whatever you want specific for that film. If you're looking for, and again, maybe the AI can. Not, I won't say maybe the AI will will
it
write what
can.
you want. It will write what you want. But if you
Right.
want an added nuance, like
Right. You still have the opportunity to do
if
that.
you pick up something that the AI won't, like, because again, we're human. So
Right.
there is a certain connection, and
Yeah,
then
you have to.
I'll go as far as to say you can't even take away from the fact that that an AI can't have the same human feel that we would put into a script,
Because
because
it's
again,
pulling from, let's think of I'm gonna be a nerd again. Let's stick to the Avengers. Let's think of Avengers Age of Ultron. Let's think of Ultron. Ultron was able to, even though he saw things in black and white, but at the same time he still saw things how we saw it. But he just used the internet, right? And he went through the whole internet and was like, yo, the world is effed up because people effed it up. So maybe we should just get rid of people and then the world will be better.
That's Terminator.
Right?
That's Terminator right there.
But on a basic level, isn't he kind of right? Like that's
Not a
how
base level. He's absolutely right. It is.
Thanos said he snaps his finger and half the universe goes away, but he said because the universe needs to be reset, because now we've gotten overpopulated, we've gotten this, we've gotten that. He's kind of right.
no, but he's kind of right, but but at the same time,
he's wrong.
But at the same time,
Right.
but here's where he's not wrong at all. He's not kind of right or kind of wrong. He's right, but but again, there's nuance. See, again, this is where nuance come in. This is where context come in. All right, you're going to snap half the planet. Because of you're gonna have, let's just say a planet. We're not even gonna say the universe. We're just gonna say one planet. You're gonna snap one planet, or you're gonna go in and destroy. Because at the time he wasn't snapping planets. He was going to planets and actually removing he was destroying half the population.
Yeah.
All right. Instead of going in and destroying half of the population, why don't you go in and explain to the population how they could better use their resources to where they can multiply their resources? Because we're one planet.
That ain't working. That
Well,
way.
they listen. If they come to the planet Earth, that ain't gonna work because they ain't gonna listen.
That ain't gonna work. I
No.
already tell you.
But see, here's the,
That's
no,
not
no.
gonna work.
I'm going to stop you there, Ralph, because we're starting to listen. We're starting to realize that we're going through fossil fuels at an unprecedented rate, which is what's burning the planet up. So the only way to stop that is to stop our use of fossil fuels, right or wrong.
Right.
We're
No,
starting to do that. But the
you're
reason why,
100% right on
but the
that. But
reason,
there's
but the
always going to
main,
be someone, right? Let's just say that's one way of thinking. No, they're never going to be united on one way of thinking. So there's always another person
There's
or
gonna be a
people
naysayer.
or group of
no,
people that's
absolutely,
going to
absolutely,
think the opposite.
absolutely. But here's the thing: why? What is their reasoning? Is their reasoning?
Doesn't matter what their reason
No,
is.
no, no.
They think
But
that
it
way.
does. It does because here's the reason why we have the issue now. We understand that our burning of fossil fuels is what's killing our planet, or a part of the reason of what's killing our planet.
Not
But,
well, we as in everybody, but everyone don't think that way. But go ahead.
but everyone does. But here's the point that I'm trying to make. The point that I'm trying to make is because of greed, because of money, because of the fact that
You
these
answered it
fossil
for me.
fuels, these fossil fuels has set up generations of wealth.
Yep.
Oh, I'm not trying. You're not stopping. But instead of transforming and being like, okay, and growing and being like, okay, this is what got our family generational wealth here so far.
Right.
So now, how can we corner the market on this? I'm all for if you're. I have no problem with big business and with them and because I don't call it greed. We're all on. We're all living to make money to grow. Blah 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 blah. Whatever the case may be.
Right. But the thing is, and I know where you're going there, and we don't want to go too political with this because we don't do politics on here. But I get what you're saying there, because that's where it's gonna end up going. But to go back to the nerd thing and Thanos and Ultron, because we'll deal with Ultron because he was only dealing with the planet Earth. Thanos was talking about the whole universe,
Whole
right?
universe, yeah.
Ultron's reasoning was we've had enough time to get our ish together and we haven't. So this is the only way to get it together is to reset us because we won't. Based on the internet, from everything he scoured, he realized that humans are never going to come to an agreement altogether, and humans are the reason why the planet and everything is the way it is. So they obviously need to be eradicated because they're not logical thinkers,
This
right?
is why, and this is why, if you watch Terminator and if you watch The Matrix, this is why the two come together, and you could tell that they stole that woman's script and split the two, because what they did in Terminator, they said, okay, we're not just going to eradicate humans. I mean, what they did in The Matrix, we're not going to eradicate humans. We're going to turn
We're
them
gonna
into human
breed them.
batteries.
Right. We're gonna breed them ourselves and mine more like mine them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, Cynthia, I know we've been going on and on with our nerds talk, but
I'm having fun listening.
Well, hell, I'm a be rumor. I'm gonna just go because it was on the other day. Star Trek. You know how
look,
many
you
episodes?
still going nerd stuff.
I'm sorry. Like I was watching Star Trek the other day. There's the episode of Star Trek Next Generation, where this race of beings they own this planet, and they basically come in by saying, "Listen, anybody that's on this planet, you got 3 days to get them off." And they're thinking, "Well, no one's going to be there." It turns out it's an entire colony. So they send data down to tell them like this is what's going on. These people will kill you, and also they don't care nothing about it. And they're like, "We're not leaving. We're not leaving. We're not leaving." They basically was like, "We're not going nowhere. When they get here, we could talk to them and we could have a chit chat over some chicken dinner." And no. So what did he do? He wound up blowing up their water station and said, "This is just me, one person on a small set." And they think what they're coming with warships. They are not going to care nothing about that. That's what it took for them to realize, hey, we could go someplace else and live. Right.
Yeah.
So no, because you're always going to have a naysayer in there that happens to be in a position of power. Just sit there and say, hey, just because you said Cynthia can sing, that don't mean I think she can sing. And he could be absolutely right or absolutely wrong, but it's always one. It's always starts with one person, and then like those saying, one person leads to two, two leads to four, and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
Right. No,
Always
I
happens.
get it. I get it. But anyway, it's a crazy situation, and I don't know if I see the writers getting everything they want.
They're not getting
I'm
that. They're
Yeah,
not getting that one.
I do.
Unless what they're saying the regulation is that they want some sort of balance between AI scripts and actual scripts written by human beings. We want some kind of balance in it, like 60% humans, 40% AI. If you're saying something like that, where there's a balance and the balance is more in the human side, then I can see that.
Yeah. Oh man, Ralph got knocked off.
Oh,
It
no.
wasn't
See,
me. It
The
wasn't me.
AI did not agree with what Ralph was
The
saying.
AI.
Yo, you took the words right out my mouth. Look, AI was like, "Look, we gotta put this dude on pause for a second." Yo, I didn't do it. So I don't know what it is. StreamYard, the computer, somebody
The
did it.
AI said, "Shut up, stop it."
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. You're watching Real Talk with Director the Jedi Council. I would say our Cynthia. Our special guest, Cynthia Sweet.
Let's claim her
Uh,
now. Our
yeah,
Cynthia.
our Cynthia. We claiming it now. I tell you, man. So when you see all this stuff being thrown at you, Cynthia, um, ultimately, like from a music standpoint, remember you said there's software that does that as well. Now we all know from as creatives, like when my friend told me about this, because my friend who told me he's not a screenwriter and
Mm.
he has been looking to hire a screenwriter and this, that, and the other, right? He's been having trouble hiring a screenwriter. They let you back in, huh, Ralph? The AI was not feeling it. They
AI was
said,
like,
that's it.
they were like, shut up, man. You need a break. So I'm gonna say it again. AI. I
And
don't.
so wait up.
Y'all not
So
y'all not getting that. Not
y'all not
getting
get
it.
that. So anyway, I was very resistant when I heard about this technology. I played with it just so I could try to understand how can I actually make it work for me without it doing my work, right?
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I'm still trying to figure it out. But now, same deal. There's software out there be like, yo, you are a singer. You not. I mean, I'm not gonna put you in that position because singers do sing other people's songs or other writers have written. So that's I'm not gonna say that you shouldn't sing some that if a computer wrote it for you. But how do
No.
you feel about that whole situation? If
I
they's like,
mean,
yo, they're like, yo, sit there, we got some hits for you right now, and you go to this producer thinking he about to give you a banger that he wrote, and he goes here and says, write this song for Cynthia that sounds like Sade.
oh my gosh, I don't even know. Honestly, to think about it, it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
But I mean, really, when I write songs, like there's this app called BeatStars. It has like a little like rhyme
hmm,
search for you. So like the
yeah,
last word that you put in, it'll suggest words to
hmm,
rhyme to end the last
yeah,
line, which is
hmm,
cool. I mean,
yeah,
you can take advantage of stuff like that as a
right,
writer, but I don't really
right,
feel need to unless I'm really stuck. But like
right.
it's
You got the
weird
real
because
bad writers block.
there are real AI like artists. They have a face, they have a body, they do music videos, and
Hmm.
I
and
know,
they sing these
it's
songs,
crazy.
and they're not real people. It's
Nope.
just so weird to me.
And we talked about that a long time ago, and my brother Heaven Hollywood talked about that on his show. They literally had an artist that signed to a label signed an AI artist.
Like
Yeah,
what?
they did. And then they tried to create this other this rapper AI, right?
I might have seen that one.
You might see that, but he caught a lot. They caught a lot of flack for that because it was a black rapper dressed and looked a certain way, and it was created by a white man, and
Oh boy.
people were not feeling that when they found
Of
found
course
out.
not.
But the here's the scary part about it though. they were accepting it up until that point. Black people was accepting it up until that point. They were actually giving it light. They were actually, like entertaining it until they found out that that particular character was made up by a white man. So it's scary out here, man. So
it's real scary.
For
But
in close,
it's always been. I mean, when it comes to music production, you got all of these. You got programs out there that are generating chords and generating rhythms for you. It's
yeah,
like it's like
they've done that.
they call it expediting the creative process. I
Yeah.
say no. I'm like no.
Well,
That
yeah, exactly. No, you're right about that, Kev. And well, I mean, they started doing it right. The only difference that I'll say is that um what some of these programs have done, and I've seen, I know people that use these programs, and I've seen how they use them. It's also how you use them. I mean, hell, some people may know this, may not know this, but I mean, Swiss Beats, who when he made that song for DMX, right? That was the literal demo that was the demo of like this sound module. I think it might have been is it the Proteus, Kev? Or no,
yeah,
it was one of them things. It might have been the Proteus. Literally, if you put the demo on it, it's that exact same. He didn't do nothing except take that and put a beat behind it. That's what he did, and gave it to DMX. So, it all depends on how you use it. But then there's programs. There's a program called Fruity Loops, right? There's a program called Fruity Loops, right? So
that's one of
that
them.
program, right? That's one of the programs that does a lot of looping for you. But I've seen people who've taken that and used it in a different way, where it's almost in the same context of sampling. They've taken that and broke it into their own thing. So they might take a loop from Fruity Loops and of a drum pattern and take it and break it down and make their own way. So it's not the exact same drum pattern, it's the same sound, but it's a different pattern. That's no different from sampling. Honestly, it's no different from sampling.
Is that the same as like what is it called? Interpolation or something like
interpolation?
Yeah, interpolation.
Yeah, interpolation. Well, interpolation is more like what Pharrell did with Blurred Lines. That's more of an interpolation of
you see what happened to him.
Of Got to Give It Up from Marvin Gaye. It's so similar. Interpolation is something that's so similar. It's a copy, but not an exact copy, right?
Okay, I see.
It's like whiting out. It's like whiting it out and writing over yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is, because it wasn't note for note, but it was close enough,
right,
for them to say, nah, this is too close, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what normally what I'm talking about is with sampling and stuff like that is there's two ways to sample. Well, there's really only one way to sample, but there's two ways people use sampling. You either sample something and just loop it and use it and write a new song over it, which you just basically, you hear whatever, James Brown, and you sample that part with like everybody's heard that beat, right?
Yeah.
You take that and just rap over it, or you could sample that and literally break the drums into pieces. So now instead of the padded,
what's called chopping.
That's called chopping, where it goes to cat to cat to cat. Instead of doing that, I might do a whole nother pattern, same sound, but different pattern. I might do cat do cat. Now it's different. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not jacking. People call sampling where they just take the whole thing and then rhyme over it, what like Puffy pretty much did with all his stuff. They call that jacking.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But sampling, and I don't want to get too far off base, but I'm just saying my whole point is, these programs now are really they're really crazy. But I want to get to Jonathan Majors because that obviously there's more developments and stuff like that. Because I think didn't they add on some charges or something like that, or some potential charges? I think I heard. I'm trying to see
No,
here.
I
Yeah,
don't know
I heard
about
something.
potential
Someone.
charges, but I do know that they did that there was as
Charges
about
were
2 hours ago.
I
They
thought I
they,
heard the
they
charges were dropped because she
yeah
retold the story.
yeah that
No, they were
they
not
did.
dropped.
No, there's video footage from the
But
back of
they
the
don't have it
taxi.
yet.
Yeah,
They don't have it yet. He said that there is video footage, but the lawyer did not say that they
they don't
have
have
it.
it yet. Right,
Right.
right.
So it
They're in
says
the
here,
process of.
Avengers lead actor receives back. Okay, no, this is something else where someone says Kang actor, blah, blah, blah. But I had someone that sent me an article that said, since her recanting, what happens is the district attorney's office has picked it up, so it doesn't matter if she recanted her statement. They could still, unless they nip this in the bud with the footage, they could still go forward and try to charge
and
him.
and
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 this
and
this is the problem.
obviously because he's a star, they want to try to railroad him,
Well,
and not
of course that because he's a star, regardless, they're gonna want to make an example out of him, whether he did it or not. If he did it, they're definitely gonna want to make an example of him. If he didn't do it, they're gonna make an example of him because of his status.
Mhm.
So, right. So my thing is, so once again, Jonathan Majors, he was arrested, and at this point he's being accused of the assault, and the charges were assault. They also had, because they had, what they added was like other stupid little charges, because they do that just in case your main charge doesn't fly. So they added on like attempted assault. I've never even know what that means. Attempted assault. They added on attempted
They had
assault,
attempted assault. They added on battery,
battery,
attempted battery.
Unless he
attempted
tried to flip the
battery.
chat.
Yeah. So anyhow, with that all being said, like I said at the top of the show, I know I speak for the show when I say we don't jump to conclusions until we know what all the details are. And I, being an advocate against or for domestic violence awareness and violence, period, right? If in fact this is a true thing that he did, I'm very disappointed. First of all, and second of all, whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? If he did it, if what he's saying is true, what I'm questioning is what repercussions will come to the woman who accused him of it. I'm saying, providing what he says is true. And what he says is this: he claims, or his lawyer says, that the video proof will prove that what he was accused of, because right now her recanting her statement means zero, because the district attorney is still going to run with it, so it doesn't mean anything at this point, not to him. So maybe to
But not only that, not only did she recant the statement, but also there was in the same article that I read, it also said that she was having a mental, a psychotic break or
that's
something,
right. No,
and that
that all helps us, but it doesn't help him, because they still could go after him for these charges if he can't nip this in the bud with his alleged proof. Now I'm gonna take another recent case.
That does help.
No, it doesn't,
No,
because if it helped, they wouldn't be continue to charge him. It doesn't help him.
No, it does.
Because
If
if the district attorney is still
if
going
she
to
was
try
having a
to charge
psychotic
him,
break and she attacked him, no. If she was having a psychotic
It-
break and
right.
you have footage showing that she attacked
No, I agree with that.
him,
What you're
that's a
missing
different
my
story.
point.
Now that's more.
What I'm
That's not assault.
right. What I'm saying is right now it does nothing for him because he does not have video footage that proves otherwise of what she I still hear you, Ralph. We just your video is frozen. We still hear you. But what I'm saying is as of right now, right? Here's what we're dealing with right now. Now, however we all feel however we feel about it. We can all individually say how we feel about it. But that's just on our initial reactions, what we've gotten so far, right? Because we don't actually have much of nothing. We just have what she said and what he said. So we don't have any actual proof of anything yet. But I guess what I'm saying is I feel that his lawyer team needs to resolve this within the next 24 to 48 hours. If they actually have the proof that they say they have. Now, I'm going to bring up a recent case. The case with Megan Thee Stallion getting shot by Tory Lanez, right? Tory Lanez lawyers said they had video proof that will exonerate their client. But that proof never came to light. It never came up. They never had it. So my point is, until I see it, I'm not counting on nothing because they of course they're paid to defend him. So of course they're gonna say my video proof is going to prove that my client is innocent and she's lying. Basically, that's what they're saying. And because she recanted her statement and blah blah blah, that proves she's lying. No, it doesn't. Because victims, if they're an actual victim, you know, they make decisions like that all the time. The young lady that I forgot what her name, but she got beat up by the ex-football player. This guy power bombed her like he was in the WWF. Power bombed her in front of their baby. Threw her into the television. This was all caught on camera. Guess what? She recanted her statement. She didn't want him to go to jail. She didn't want him to ruin his career. Right? She didn't want. Well, I mean, regardless, you know, I don't victim shame here. You know,
I will.
Whatever.
No, I will.
Whatever. No, wait a minute. Whatever the case may be, what your opinion is, that's fine. But I'm just telling you the facts. She recanted. She recanted the statement because she realized she didn't want him to go to jail. She didn't want him to ruin his career. So it's very possible, and I don't know if this is the case with this woman. It's very possible she could have recanted the statement because she realized Jonathan Majors. She realized what she did, or her reporting it, even if it was true, could ruin Jonathan Majors' career, and also anything else. He could possibly face jail or heavy fines, whatever the case may be, right? So that's my only point of, and I don't want to really get on the other woman because she's not relevant here. The relevancy is recanting your statement does not mean much. It really doesn't. So that's my only point. I want to get your thoughts on it, Cynthia, from what you've seen and read so far. And like I said, we don't judge here. It's just we all got our thoughts on it. What's your thoughts on this whole situation?
Honestly, I wish I knew more about. I wish I knew more about their relationship and who exactly she was. So was she his girlfriend or
allegedly apparently from what I heard or read, and yeah, it's his girlfriend.
Okay.
I don't know how long they've been in a relationship or whatever. And I remember mentioning that. I remember I got, because everyone's sensitive these days. I remember mentioning that, and I got chewed out. What difference does it make how their relationship is? It doesn't make a difference. That doesn't mean he should abuse her. I said I did not say abusing her was okay or anything like that.
Right.
I'm
But
just
it's good
saying
to
that
know.
it's what I was saying was you're gonna throw your life away for a person that you probably not even gonna be with in the future. It's not like it's your wife and it's something that you guys can work on and work out, because that's what you have to do if you're in a marriage. And unfortunately, if you're in some sort of domestic fight or something like that, you could still work it out and go forward with that person, right?
Yeah.
Like either way, it doesn't mean you should abuse them. My point is someone who probably not even gonna be in your life a year from now, you could possibly throw your life or your career away because you couldn't show your restraint. And this is all pending if it was true. I'm not saying that he
Yeah.
did. I'm not getting on him, and I'm not saying that he did. It's all pending it being true. My point was, don't be dumb, and nobody. And I said this before. No person, unless you threaten my offspring or do something to hurt my offspring, there's no person worth your freedom. I'm sorry. No one.
Absolutely. No, I agree.
And
Absolutely.
the only time I will gladly go sit down for however years if someone threatened or hurt my child, then it's worth your freedom, in my opinion. I will gladly go sit down. But other than that, there is no person walking this planet, in my opinion, that is worth my freedom. Period. I don't give a god darn what you do, as long as it ain't to my kids, or anything like that, and you're not trying to physically hurt one of my loved ones. Other than that, you're not worth my freedom. So that's the point I made. I got chewed out for it, and people are like, it doesn't matter what their relationship was. He shouldn't beat her. I said, I didn't say that.
Right.
I
That
didn't
wasn't the
say anything
point.
about that. That wasn't my point. My
Yeah.
point is, if it's your wife, it's possible for you to work that out with her. You see what I'm saying? There's a more probability that you're still going to be with this woman. And even if
Yeah.
it does ruin your career, you guys still have something to work out. You might work it out. And if you do, great. Your career you'll be able to rebuild eventually, because people get over stuff eventually. But
Yeah.
if it's just some random girlfriend and you can't restrain yourself, like I said, pending him have actually did it. You can't restrain yourself, some random girlfriend. Now you just got yourself thrown out. And I believe, this is purely my belief, and I might be 100% wrong. And if I am, in advance, I apologize to the quote unquote victim. I believe that first of all, if you are comfortable enough of getting into a fight in public, you've gotten to it behind doors.
Oh,
You've gotten to it in
definitely.
Yeah,
private.
well,
Right?
definitely.
That's number one. Number two, if that's the case, now, key point is, he got dropped off somewhere else. She got dropped off somewhere else. He didn't come home all night. The next day, she called the police. My opinion is the fact that he did not come home that night is why she called the police the next day. That's
Pissed
just
her
my
off.
opinion. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. And like I said, if she is truly the victim and he did what she said he did, then I apologize in advance. I'm not trying to shame the victim. I'm just saying, in my opinion, based on the evidence that we have now, it feels to me like, okay, y'all got into a lover's spat. You both got dropped off different places to cool off or whatever. He never came home. And the whole reason why you got into the lover's spat is because she was trying to figure out who was he talking to on the text messages or whatever. So the fact that you went home, slept, and then called the police the next day, my opinion, that seems a little that's a little sus to me. But I digress. If if the fact that Maybe she just went home. They were both intoxicated. Maybe she just went home and passed out, slept it off. I don't know. I mean, I don't equate it to like it's still allegedly assault, but I don't equate it to stuff like when they say victims, and especially when it's domestic. I've seen it with domestic though. Don't get me wrong, but like a lot of times domestic won't do it. They won't because they're in a relationship with that person. They'll hesitate to call the police sometimes, not always. Um, so I'm like I said, it's neither here nor there. It's just purely my opinion that was a little fishy to me. You know what I mean? Given the service of it. Now we'll see as the evidence unfolds
Right.
how
See.
we'll see how it goes. But the bottom line is, let's talk about Jonathan Majors right now. The Army. He has an ad with the Army, right? U.S. Army has paused their ads. I actually saw one at the movies yesterday in the movie theater. But they have put a pause on their ads with him. They haven't dropped him yet. They're just waiting to see what happens. They said that we're going to wait until they said, Mr. Majors is innocent until proven guilty. So we're going to wait to more evidence in this investigation and that the investigation is complete before we make any other moves. But as of right now, we're going to pause our ads that are currently airing with Mr. Majors in it. Now, Disney or Marvel has yet to make a statement, and they're going to because they have to. They're going to make a statement. Obviously, they're going to probably take the same stance as most others. Let's see what happens, but they're going to make a statement. So my question, the thing that I'm saying to you guys is, I feel, and I don't know how you feel about it, and I'll get y'all's feelings. I feel that Jonathan Majors and his team needs to resolve this within the next 24 to 48 hours. Because the longer it stays out there, the more you have the court of public opinion, social media, people that are on witch hunts and things like that to try to blur the vision of his employers. And we have to say that there's a factor because Disney has fired people for way less than that. They fired people for tweets from 10 years ago. They fired people for tweets of what their position or their perspective, political perspectives, things like that whatever they felt they wanted to say. They fired Roseanne for what she said. They fired people for way less than assault charges. So I guess what is your thoughts on that as far as do you agree or disagree that his team needs to resolve this within the next 24 to 48 hours?
This team is doing everything that they possibly can with what they have at the time of what they're doing. It's not gonna. This is not a. They can work as hard as they can. It's just the point of gaining the evidence that you need to prove what you need to prove, and whether that evidence is true. I mean, like you use the Tory Lane case. I mean, they probably had some video that probably could look like it wasn't his fault, but when you play the whole video in context, he shot her. He definitely shot her. This could be the same case with Jonathan Majors. There's video, but they don't know what it is, and until they obtain that,
They said they know what it is. They just don't have it yet. He said the video
again, if
undoubtedly
you
prove.
But again, if you don't have the video, it does
until
not
you
matter.
see it, you can't say undoubtedly.
Exactly, because
Don't tell me what he can't say. They said it. I'm just trying to tell you what they said.
Listen, but listen, I'm still saying.
I'm gonna chime in here.
I'm gonna still say that you can't say undoubtedly, because until you have that video in your hand, you could say undoubtedly all you want to all day. It means absolutely nothing until the evidence is proven, or until you have eyewitness testimony to say, "Hey, look, this is what actually happened. I don't know what she talking about, but this is what happened," or "I don't know
No,
what he's talking about."
I agree. I agree with that. I'm saying is that this is a time sensitive thing when it comes to
But you can't see, that's the problem, and that's the whole
it is
problem.
time sensitive. This is the
But
facts, Kev. It's a time sensitive thing because you know how social media is a very powerful tool that weighs in, and it does have an effect on these cases. It does. Unfortunately, it does. But
Yeah,
it's
well,
the
yeah, well,
truth.
guess what? Well, guess what? Here's the thing.
But see
Yeah,
here, but it's,
go ahead, Ralph.
no, but here's the problem with this. And on one hand, you're right. They do need to solve it quickly, but you can only solve it once. You can't solve it until you if without getting this video evidence or without the testimony of the cab driver, they would have did it. They would have did it already, but they can't do it. They want to wait
Why
to
can't
get the
they?
evidence to see exactly what it is. Now, I'm going to sit here and say this one because if you're sitting there saying that we have video proof, and this team saying, well, we need to solve this case, then that means that you're going to have to do some sort of payoff to this person. That's the only thing you're going to get is a payoff. But Jonathan Major's team saying, "Hey, we have video proof that can prove that he didn't do this." Now, and you also have the cab driver, right? The only thing that's going to get Jonathan Major off, I'm sorry, is if you see the girl attacking him and he's defending himself. Anything
Hmm.
other than that one, he got a problem, right?
I agree. I agree.
And as far as that point about unequivocal proof that proves his client, I'm gonna tell you this. In my other field, a couple years ago, we had this situation. A girl accused a guy of violating her boundaries on a film set.
Hmm.
She straight out accused him, made this whole YouTube video and all of the. He said,
Hmm.
"I didn't do anything. I did what I was hired to do. That was the nature of the scene. I did what I was hired to do." What she did not know is that the director had a video camera going from the time that everybody walked into the house that recorded
Hmm.
everything. It recorded
Yeah, yeah.
the hellos, the introductions, the goodbye. Once that came out, because he was getting slammed, but once that video came out and showed that he did nothing wrong, she couldn't say nothing. She couldn't say nothing because now you got the video proof that backed up what he said, and that's what you need. You need the video proof. So the only way Jonathan Majors is getting off from this case, where he's going to go, not even, and even if it does, he still ain't getting off scot free. But at least exonerates him from the fact that he did not pull the trigger. That he was
Right.
defending
He
himself.
didn't, and he didn't say smack her or choke her because she could literally have got. She does have, from what the report said in the police report, she has bruises or scars, but she could have got that with them just tussling. You know, it doesn't mean that he literally
Exactly.
held back and smacked her or choked her. Cynthia, chime in on this. What do you think?
Mm,
You sounding like you leaning towards. This sounds a little fishy, but go ahead. I want to hear your opinion.
no, but that's exactly what I'm thinking. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know all the details
Right.
of
None of
everything.
us do. None of us know all the details,
We
but yeah.
yeah, we only know what we've heard, but
Hmm.
yeah, it just sounds, I don't know. It could go one of two ways. I hopefully hopefully they have this video proof that they're talking about, and
Right. That's why I hate
we
that,
can
and the only
move
reason
on
why.
past
Right.
this.
The only reason why I
But
even brought that up because I agree with everyone. You shouldn't be saying that if you ain't have it in your hand. But the fact of the matter is, he is. That's what's annoying me. Why or
yeah,
he or she, whoever the lawyer is saying that. I know they got to make why they're saying that because they have to somehow appease the press. They got to tell the press something. So they're telling the press because right out the gate you hear he was arrested, which is a fact. He was arrested. You hear he was arrested because of assault charges, and also the lawyer also tried to also point out that in this case, and me and Kev talked about this offline. In this situation, they have to arrest you. They have to react
yeah,
to it, right? It doesn't necessarily mean they're arresting you for assault, but because it was reported, they need to do it, especially because it's considered domestic with them being in a relationship.
Yeah.
So
No, they didn't. No. They did not have to arrest. They could detain
yes,
them.
they did,
The
Ralph.
fact
That's the
they did.
law. They
They
have to.
did
They
not have
have
to
to
arrest
do
them.
that.
They could. They
That's the
could have
law,
brought.
bro. When it
They
comes
did
to
not.
the domestic stuff,
They
she
did not
reported it. They did a
have.
report, and they had enough
She reported.
evidence to go and get him
They
because she
did.
had bruises. Yeah, they did, and they could, and they had to.
Unfortunately, Ralph, in New York State,
Yep.
technically speaking,
Oh, okay. New York State.
if they would have walked in that door and would have, if he would have been there when she made the claim,
Yep.
when she made the call, they would have arrested him on the spot, but they would have arrested both of them
Right.
actually, because in
Right.
New York State,
That's it.
as well as in Las
Yeah,
Vegas
they would have arrested both of them.
and a couple other spots, if you have if there's a domestic violence case, depending on it's no
Depending on
more.
who calls.
Yeah, it
Really.
depends on.
Because
It
let's just
used to
say,
be.
if the cab driver would have called, they would have arrested both of them.
Mhm.
Because she called,
Because she
arrested him.
called and he wasn't there. But also, that was the other thing I wanted to note. Supposedly, Jonathan Majors also called the police as well. Supposedly,
She might have called them first. So it's unfortunate, but like you said, Kev, this is and this is mainly in New York State. I don't know, it's other states too. I don't know exactly which ones, but especially with domestic violence, I've been kind of like, I used to do a lot of work in that field because of doing films and stuff like that based around that. So I talked to a lot of advocates, and
well, I can
yeah,
tell you because my daughter's mother is a social worker. She her particular line of work is child protective services, but but she has worked
right.
in other fields as far as especially when it comes to adult. When it comes to domestic, because it's still whether it's kids or adults, it's still considered domestic
It
violence.
still falls under domestic. Yeah, if it's a relationship or family, it's domestic. So
Yeah. So in New York State, they have to. Because it's a law, and I forget what there's an actual name of the
You got
law.
a fan here, sweet.
Hey, Murph.
Thanks for joining, Murph. We appreciate that. Yeah, we got her. She's up here. She up here doing her thing up here with us. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I didn't mean to cut you off, Kev, but I saw she had a supporter in the room.
Oh,
So,
no.
I mean, we had to put that out there. But I mean, yeah, this is a very touchy situation, obviously, and of course, we can't do much more than we get more evidence. I'm just the reason why I'm saying the only reason why my 24 to 48 hours is, let's say, okay, well, I'll stretch it even one more day, 36 hours, right? Because I'm saying this, I said 48, I meant 72 hours. I'm saying this because purely because of the media and social media. The longer you wait to resolve this, the worse it is for Jonathan Majors. Now, even at the end of the day, because they've already setting court dates that's like in May. That's too late. I don't want that. If I'm Jonathan Majors, I don't even want to have to go to court. I know that if this is the truth, I know that this footage is going to exonerate me. Let's get that footage ASAP and get it out, because I'm not waiting until May.
But here's the thing.
He may not have a choice of that. He may not have a choice of that one.
Right.
You may not, but you sure have a better chance if you already get it out there.
No, but the only thing they could do. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to they can't do nothing about what a court date is set.
I know about the court date. You still have to go to that. But what I'm saying is, I'm not waiting till then to present my evidence.
Slow down for a second. What I'm trying to say is there are a couple of things that people are not saying. One, people are not realizing also They're just saying that he was arrested. Nobody's not saying also that he was released on his own recognizance. He's currently not in jail. He wasn't even in jail that long. He got arrested and he got released probably. Well, it was on the weekend, so he probably got released that Monday.
I don't
Unless
really
they.
think he spent the whole weekend. He probably got released right away, but with
But but
still in
but
all.
but let me
Yeah.
finish. But
Go ahead.
here's the thing: you have once you get arrested, there's nothing you can do. Even if you let's say, even if you found out that same day, let's say your lawyers got video proof or got all your witnesses in line, got everything set up that same day. Let's just say that Saturday you got arrested. They spent all day Sunday getting it together. By Monday, they got your whole case put together. There's nothing they can do because once the judge, unless the only way those charges can be dropped immediately is if that evidence was being able to be presented at the same time that he was being sentenced and charged. If at the same time, at the moment of his sentencing and at the same time that he was being charged, if his lawyers had evidence to prove, like, hey, look, Your Honor, XYZ, 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 and the prosecution agreed with the evidence that was presenting at the time that he was being charged, then they would have been like, okay, all right, well, case dismissed, boom, 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 bang, 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 boom, it's gone. The same, but because that didn't happen, what I just said is possibly what's going to happen on his court date, unless behind the scenes they're able to talk to a judge and be like, Judge, listen, this is what it is, but instead of us going to trial, can we just cut this short? But the trial date is already set for him to come back to court for it.
Right,
So
the hearing really. It's not a
right,
trial
so
yet.
so,
Is
so
it?
what
Yeah,
was
the
the
hearing
hearing?
date. Right. Yeah.
So for
Right.
him to come back to court, so when they go back to court, all of this stuff, whether there's evidence or not, is going to be presented on that date. Because
Right to the court.
unfortunately, when he was charged, his lawyers weren't able to present that evidence the day that he was charged. If you're able to present evidence the day that you're charged, like, hey, what are you doing? My client didn't do that. Look,
Hmm.
here's video evidence.
Yeah. Well, Cynthia, what do you what's your take on that? I'm gonna respond with
And
something else,
again,
but I want to hear what you
I
say
just want
about
to make one more note, Cynthia, before you say what you got to say. Just one more note. Also, what we need to understand also is that it's going to take time for them to turn over to get the video evidence, because one, they have to figure out which cab they were in, which is not too hard to do. Two,
Right.
they're going to have to go and get that video evidence from
Might
the
take a minute.
and that's a whole
Oh, yeah.
process in itself.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
a
they
whole
mentioned
legal process.
eyewitness. Yeah. Yeah. They mentioned eyewitness testimony. So, and they did mention the cab driver, I think. So they
Yeah,
should know what cab they were in. But I mean,
but again,
they
they
better
have
hope
to.
TMZ go out and get it because they get stuff fairly quick,
Oh
and they
yeah.
get it because they pay for it, and they get stuff fairly quick. TMZ has stuff usually in a few days. They have the actual video footage of it, so they better hope in this aspect that it works in their favor and TMZ gets that because all of this, what you're saying, I agree with, and I'm well aware of it. I know how, all of that works. What I'm talking about is the fact that the longer it takes, the worse it's going to be for him because you're going to have people
But
speculating. Yeah, and
but
it
see, they can do
matters.
all they
It
want because they
matters. No, but
listen.
it does
But
matter.
they did the same thing with Johnny Depp, and look what happened. As soon as his case was cleared, what they do? They dropped. I forgot what brand that was, what fragrance
What?
brand that was, but that
Mhm,
fragrance brand immediately, the day
mhm.
of his sentencing. I mean, the
I
day
think
that
it
he
was
was
Versace.
cleared.
Versace,
Yeah, it might have been Versace. They,
Dang.
they,
right.
they started releasing. They released all those. They had those commercials on deck, waiting to
No,
go.
no, no, no. They did. That's what I'm saying. Which is exactly what, like, say, the army is doing. They're gonna wait until the investigation is complete before they make a move. And I hope that's how all his employers decide to do it. Right. That's what we hope. But Cynthia, I don't want to take that away from you. What was you thinking? Your thoughts?
Um. Ah.
Come on, Cynthia, stop holding the line.
Oh my God.
We
Don't worry
put the
about
pressure
it.
on you.
We already covered you by saying the views is expressed, but the views and expressions of the particular participants are not the views and expressions of YouTube.
Okay.
So you can go
Well,
ahead and say that.
honestly, well, if we're comparing it to the Johnny Depp case, I feel like even though the public was on Johnny's side, everybody could
Most
tell Amber was,
yeah, I'd
crazy.
say majority was on Johnny's side. There
Yeah,
was some.
majority. Okay, we'll say
There was
majority.
there was some on Amber's side, but because there was some
Yeah.
people, there were actually some other people that were saying that they witnessed Johnny, and that's another thing. Just something else for you to chew on. There's also now. This is what I mean by time sensitive. Now there are other people coming out of the woodworks that's saying that they've experienced Jonathan Majors in a violent manner
Ah,
from college, people from college. This
I
is
think I
why
saw that
right.
article.
They said in Yale, where he went to college and studied, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are saying there's people from there. There's an actual director who went to Yale, and he said he made a tweet about this situation, basically saying, I'm surprised it took this long for it to come out about him. It made this is what I mean by time sensitive. You're giving the time for other crap to come ahead. That's exactly what I mean by time sensitive. But go ahead, finish your thought.
Yeah. I'll just say it doesn't look good right now. Even if his
Oh
hearing
wait,
were to
we lost
happen
you.
sooner, I feel like fallout is already
Oh, I
happening.
lost you. Let me see something.
Uh-oh.
I hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. I was saying, even if his hearing was anytime sooner than what it is, I mean, fallout is already happening. Like you said, people are coming out of the woodworks, and now people have something to say about, the stuff from Yale, whatever he was doing back then. It's not looking good. But like you said earlier, if he had just restrained himself, none of this would be happening.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I feel like
But see,
people's
here's the
true
thing.
colors show when
But
they're.
Cynthia, we can't say we don't know whether he restrained himself or not
Well,
because
I
she
mean, he
because
did
she
speaking of,
because he.
because she made the call to the police. So
Yeah.
and
right, she made the call. Right, we don't know for sure yet if
and
he did
that's the
what
downside.
she said he did. That's the whole that right. I agree. That's the downside of what us being here now talking about it because we only have limited information based on what was given. That's why. But I see what you're saying. If in fact it happened, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Then
it's in
yeah,
fact.
right. If in fact it happened as written, as it's said or expressed, then I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, I said that before, but that's once again my take on it, and I assume your take on it because of the person you are. Not
Yeah.
everybody's like that. Not everyone has restraint for whatever reason. But
I'm scared. Well, I'll just say I'm scared
But
for him.
see,
That's my thought.
but I'm gonna say it like this: the whole thing with the restraint. In order for that, have you guys know issues going on, right? It may have been a situation, like I said, we don't know if that video showed that she started an argument and started a fight with him, and now it's more that you're defending yourself. Then you can't blame Jonathan Majors for that because that's what any of us do. And I'll say that I would when I was in Las Vegas, I was in the car driving a car, and two people in the car that were friends of mine got into an argument. The girl in the back, first she was cursing out her boyfriend, then she spit on him and tried to start a fight while we were on the freeway. So he
Oh my
turned
God.
around and grabbed her arms to pin her to the back seat. He did not try to punch her, did not try to stop. He just tried to stop her to calm her down. Now, theoretically, this woman could say, well, he assaulted me. But you assault first because you sit on him.
Well, that's definitely assault. Yeah,
that is assault. So that whole thing about some sense of, well, he could have restrained himself. You don't know what happened. Now, if you see the video and the both of them sit talking, he turned around, he backhand slaps her, then it's case closed. It's case closed. But if you're sitting there, and they're in the backseat talking, and she turned around and then she smacks him in the face. Sorry, that's assault. So, and second of all, she waited until the next day, not when he dropped her off, but she waited till the next day. So theoretically speaking, and be real for a second, how do we know that whatever, because she has minor injuries, how do we know she didn't do that to herself to make him look bad? Because he is.
We don't.
And again, what'd you say, sweetie?
So that's what I'm saying. There's a whole.
No, you're not sweetie, Ralph. She's sweetie because she's sweet.
Jesus Christ! You pause.
I didn't even hear that. I didn't even hear that.
I was saying it could be a possibility. She's self-inflicted.
Yeah, it's very possible
because it has happened. I mean, we all saw Gone Girl. We hey, think about that.
Thin line between love and hate. We saw that. When she went and she put the orange in the sock and was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I mean,
so I can't. Yeah, so I'm saying I can't say Jonathan Majors is guilty, but then again, I can't say that he's innocent. If your attorney is sitting there saying,
here's the thing, but see, here's the thing that helps him. Not to cut you off, Ralph. I'm sorry. Here's the thing that puts, because I want to make this point clear. Here's the thing that to piggyback off what Ralph said earlier. This is the thing that makes it clear, that makes you go, why wait till the next day to call? If Jonathan Majors, he was smart enough not to go home with her, because obviously he understood that going home with her could escalate the situation, and that the situation could possibly escalate more. Now I'm making an assumption, and I'm not even theoretically speaking, but 9 times out of 10, if he would have if he would have went home with her, it would have been a lot worse. And he was probably knowing himself. Let's just say that what this other director came out and said, that, oh well, it's not surprising. I hate when people do that. Don't do that. Just say what you gotta say. Don't go, oh well, it's not surprising.
Yeah, or he came with that whole passive aggressive. It was a tweet where the guy tweeted, he made some sort of passive aggressive comment, and then people on the internet, they want to get the details. Oh, so you're apparently talking about Jonathan Majors, huh? And then his response was ding, 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 ding. That was his response.
But see, here's the thing. Did something happen on set where Jonathan got angry on set with the director? Where does that equate to?
I mean, what he said was what his, and I'm paraphrasing his exact words, but what he said basically was.
But that's what I'm saying.
Jonathan Majors, in his experience, is abusive and cruel.
But see, here's the thing. Again,
and a sociopath. He used the word sociopath.
But but you know what? But you know what? Hold up. But hold up. But
what'd you say?
What'd you say, Ralph? You broke up.
We can say this. We can say the same thing about Christian Bale. Backstage, got video footage.
I'm not saying about him being on
whoever it was. We got footage. I said you could say the same thing about, like, he's a passive aggressive about Christian Bale, right? Do we or do we not have footage of Christian Bale going ballistic on somebody on terms of the Terminator movie?
Yeah,
right?
we do.
So unless this guy said, "Well, I actually saw Jonathan Major hitting somebody," because I think that's part of the whole butt hurt sensitive culture that we live in now. That if you say something a little loud because you deserve it, oh well, you're being disrespectful. No, man, you're not doing your job. You're not doing your job.
Well,
Sorry,
I'm telling
Tom
you,
Cruise.
I'm telling you the words that he used. He said abusive, cruel, and sociopath. Those are the words that he
That,
used. And
you know what that sounds like to me. I'm sorry, and you know what, and I want homegirl to comment on this one. Here's
I
what I
can't take this
feel
black man
about.
telling me what to do.
Here's what I feel about what that about what that tweet says. That tweet says, "Oh well, while we were on set, I was being a little bit of a dick of a director, and Jonathan Majors wasn't having it, and he stood
well,
his
I mean,
ground."
that's I'm just telling you what he said.
And he said something
Now,
to me. I can't
but
take this black
and
man.
it
This black
goes.
man
Well,
telling me a white man what to do. How dare he? Oh,
Because
that's
oh,
because
he's
just your
sensitive.
that's
here's the
your
thing.
opinion.
Because here's the thing.
Because at
Here's
this
my
point, this
thing.
happened in this guy is speaking from Yale, from college. So Jonathan Majors wasn't even Jonathan Majors at this point.
and
He
and
wasn't the
and then
star Jonathan Majors.
that's exactly my point of why it's some butthurt shit. Because why
Yeah.
in the world are you had all of this time to come out and say, hey, well, Jonathan Majors was a jerk in
A decade.
while he was in Yale, or he was abusive while he was in Yale, and da 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 whatever. You had all of this time to say it, but you wait until now,
Well, they
and
all
you
do
do
that.
it
That's
in,
the whole. That's the
and you do it.
pylon. That's the pylon syndrome. They all do it. They did it with Nate Parker. They did it with they did it with everybody. They did it with Joss Whedon. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
So
until
here,
It wasn't until Ray Fisher spoke out about Joss Whedon, and then other people came out and talked about him. So people are just scared until someone else
oh
mentions
my
it.
God, I'm tired. I'm
So I mean,
sorry.
that's just it
I'm,
is, man. It's the
but I'm sorry.
facts.
I'm
People are
sorry.
scared till someone else mentioned,
I
then
am.
they pile on.
I'm
That's
sorry.
how they
I
do it.
am tired of hearing this thing. Oh, I was scared. I was scared to say something. I was scared. So here's the thing with Jonathan Major. Let's just sit there and say what this guy says is true. If Jonathan Major never became an actor, he became the guy at Buffalo Wild Wings making the buffalo wings. Would you still feel the same way? Would you feel the need to raise your hand and say, "Well, he was mean to me"?
Ralph, I'm sorry, Ralph. The people way back in the bleachers did not hear you. Can you
I'm
please
gonna
say that again?
I'm
Can
gonna say
Buffalo
you
it again.
please
So,
say that again?
No, of course
I'm
he
gonna say
wouldn't. But
I'm
what
gonna
is
say it again.
as funny as
So
that
stop.
point,
So
is,
stop
Ralph?
being. So stop.
That's
So
not the
stop being
that's not the
scared.
case
Stop it.
though.
Stop it. No, that is
Well,
the
I mean,
case.
it's easy
No,
If
for you
it's
to
if
it's
say
not
that,
that you're
Ralph.
if
it's
this
not you're
guy,
scared.
if
It's
this
not that
guy
you're
was a
scared.
sociopath when you met him,
Go
you're
ahead, Ralph.
opportunist. You're an opportunist. Now is my
hmm
opportunity to get my name put out there. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down, bro.
Uh-huh.
Go
Because
back eating
again,
your
you said
Buffalo
this guy was
Wild
the
Wings
director.
with
All
your
right, let
blue
me let
cheese
me let
sauce.
me
Go
let
back.
me read
Go back
this,
there.
and then Cynthia, you can. I'm gonna read this for you, so you can make your opinion, your comment on an opinion. All right, two directors speak out about Jonathan Major's alleged vicious, cruel behavior, and more after actor's assault arrest. Right. So then here's a quote. There's a particular actor. This is what the director quoted. There's a particular actor, relatively new on the scene, whose Twitter has violently fallen head over heels for who, right? Who Twitter has violently fallen head over heels for. In actual, is a vicious, cruel, abusive human being, both professionally and in his personal life. And every new viral to thirst tweet about him drives me insane. That's one person, right? Then another one says, I regret my overly flippant tone here. I read the words alleged assault in this tweet. Figure we were talking about a shoving match outside of a bar or something, then posted this. Once I read the details, far more brutal than I expected. I wished I had said something else. everything I've known about has not been physical. It's not a huge leap at all for an emotional, violent, professional, abusive people to become physically violent as well. But I was not made aware of it. This is uniquely horrific and very grave. And then here's another quote. There's the other director who's taken issue uh with Majors is Tim Nicolai, a veteran of Broadway and a co-founder of Society Theater. Nicolai's comments have since been made private, but were recorded right here. This says the creative made several serious accusations against you know Majors, calling him quote unquote a sociopath and abuser. I'm just going to say this about Jonathan Majors. This is a quote. I'm just going to say this about Jonathan Majors and be done with it. Folks at Yale and at the broader NYC community have known about him for years. He's a sociopath and an abuser, and that is how virtually everyone speaks about him. It's a shame it took this long for him to be reported. End quote. So these are the things that are coming up now. And you can make that reference all you want, Ralph, but it doesn't change the fact that this hurts him. It hurts him.
Wait a minute. No,
It
no,
does.
no.
Yes, it
No,
does.
it doesn't.
Yes,
I'm
does.
sorry. Wait. I'm sorry.
You're not
If
living in the
John,
21st century, bro.
no, I am.
This
I am,
hurts him.
and
This
that's the
hurts him.
problem. But see, that's just the problem. If
It
I'm
is a
getting this
problem, but I'm
right,
just saying
John.
it does.
Wait,
though.
wait. Hold on a second. If I'm getting this right, Jonathan Majors got out of Yale over a decade ago, about a decade ago, right? About 10 years ago. I'm sorry, but is Ant-Man the first movie that this man has made in the last 10 years or been involved in the last 10 years?
I don't know,
No.
but Ralph,
So
what
so
you're
we
saying is completely true. I know where you're going with it. I'm not cutting you off, but I know where you're going with it. And what you're saying is true. However, how long has Joss Whedon been in the business? How long has it taken for Buff? How long ago did Joss Whedon do Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
I get
And
the
just
thing with
now, people from
I
Buffy the Vampire Slayer are coming out about the abusive nature of Joss Whedon on set because Ray Fisher was the one who had the balls to say it first.
But here,
What difference is that?
okay. But here's the thing: we have not heard any rumors or rumblings about Jonathan Majors being any kind of
one
way
bit.
We're hearing
on
it
set.
now. We're
One
hearing
bit.
it now from
And
people
Frankie,
that work with them or
that whole
has
thing
had
of being
direct contact with them.
once again, that whole thing of being a psychopath or abusive. How do we not know that it's not something that you guys weren't doing your job to the best of your abilities, or you slacking days ago? And he's the guy that who may have been on the marquee everybody was looking at for leadership, and he's got to put some asses in check. Like get your stuff together. I don't know that if you said that, if you would have said to say he has a history of physically assaulting people, now
Well,
your
that's
story
what one of them said. One of
that's
them
not
said in
if
his personal life and
we're
in
not talking about
professional.
personal. You can't comment on someone's personal life because that person, unless you were the person that he was involved with, you can't speak 1,000%. That
Well, I mean, if you
person,
witnessed it, you can. If you witnessed it,
if you
can.
witnessed it, but
I
once
mean,
again,
if I saw somebody slap somebody, I can literally say that person is abusive. He slapped that person, or she
okay,
slapped that person.
and once
Right?
again, you don't
boy,
know
they
you
do to
don't
get fat.
then why didn't you say something about it back then when he was a nobody?
No one has that answer, Ralph. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That and that's my
People
that
people
but that's
do it
my
anyway,
but that's
professional
my
and otherwise.
but that's my
So,
entire
but does that
point.
make them wrong just because they now have the courage to say it? If it really happens, I'm using Joss
Yes.
Whedon as an
Yes, it
example.
does.
Joss
Yes.
Whedon is an
That's it.
abusive prick.
That's it.
It's been, it's been said by. It's not
But
different.
that is a
It's
different
been
story.
said by. No, it's not.
I'm
It's
gonna
the
tell
same
you.
thing.
No, it's a different story. I'm gonna tell you why. Because if Josh Whedon was a big prick. Josh Whedon is someone that has been established, and he became a prick when he on a set. But this guy is saying is that all this stuff happened in college before Jonathan Majors did anything in Hollywood. If you had the chance to stop him back then before it got here and you didn't do nothing now, once again, if he was working at Buffalo Wild Wings and he made you those hot wings that you was scarfing down for watching the NFL ticket on the Sunday, none of this would came to light. None of this.
Well, of course, but that's what you can say that about Joss Whedon. The
No,
point
you can't.
is,
No, you can't because
yes, you can.
No, you
is
can't.
if
You
Joss
cannot say-
Whedon
you
was
can't-
not a famous director and he was worked at Buffalo Wild Wings, no one would care.
No.
Or if Joss
No,
Whedon
wait a minute.
retired,
Wait.
I'll rephrase that. If Joss Whedon stopped making movies and no longer relevant in the movie world, you could still say the same thing.
No, it's not.
No one
It's
would
not.
it wouldn't be as big of a deal because they probably wouldn't bring it out because he's not relevant. I don't want to keep talking over.
It would
Cynthia,
because
so.
it would because that's a situation with Bill Cosby. But the reason I'm saying Josh Whedon is different than this Jonathan Majors situation is because all the people that are saying that Josh Whedon were people that Josh Whedon, he was already a director of doing stuff. He wasn't a nobody doing Shakespeare in the Park or doing a high school play.
I get that, but that doesn't.
The stature is different. The stature is different.
But still, in all, the point remains the same. Those people never talked about Joss Whedon's behavior ever before, and they only talked about it because someone had the brave, or whatever you want to call it, the guts to call him to say something first, and then they piled on. It doesn't mean they're lying because they are now coming out later and they're agreeing with Ray Fisher, and they're like, yeah, I agree, he did that to me too. And then the other person, yeah, I agree, he did that to me too. Yeah, it's years later, but does that mean the Buffy the Vampire Slayer actors are lying about Joss Whedon?
I did not even say these guys lying. I don't know they're lying.
You don't know if they're lying, right?
But all I'm sitting there saying is simply this: if that was the case, why didn't you say something 10 years earlier before he had?
Because you're talking about performance. You're talking about performance, right? You're talking about performers. You're talking about it. What difference does it make? If let's just say if he didn't do anything specifically to you, right? You're not going to report. Who are you reporting them to? Right? There's no one to report them to. So my point is,
if that's wait.
Now, and to answer that, based on what this person said, he says in the Yale. Wait. I'm reading a quote. He says in the New York City community, the broader New York City community have known about him for years, and he's a sociopath abuser, and that is how virtually everyone speaks about him. Now, we're not in that community, let's be honest. We are on the other side, right? We're not we're on our own, we're in our own community, let's just say the independent world. So what I'm just saying, I'm just reading the quote. He says virtually everyone speaks about him that way. It's a shame it took this long for him to be reported. This is what this person said. However, what he just said, his quote, based on what he's we don't know whose line was not, but based on his quote, this is something that's not new amongst people that's worked with him before. That's what he said. It just hasn't been reported. What do you
so
think,
I'm sitting
Wait,
here.
wait. No. Let's slow down. When we say hasn't been reported, what does that even mean? Hasn't been reported. I mean, what has he been angry on set? So what? So you're gonna have somebody arrested for being angry on set? I don't get that.
I don't. It didn't say anything about set. He used the word sociopath and abuser. He didn't say anything else about set.
Well, okay.
He just said,
Okay. Let's take set out of it. Let's go with what we're assuming he's saying. He's talking about in his personal life. Okay, so
I mean, we don't know what he's talking about.
So why? Okay, so now what we can expect is when this goes to court, there's going to be, because let me tell you something. If this was the case that he was a known, as they say, a known abuser, a known sociopath like that, and he would have got arrested for that, if he would have got arrested, they would have held him because of
let
priors.
let
They
me
would have
no
held him.
well if it was reported, right? Let me say
Mhm.
this, y'all. There's more. Right. Comment Commentators subsequently asked, why did Nikolai, sorry, didn't speak up about this sooner if he was aware of the alleged negative behavior on the actor's part. He responded by saying, quote, people have tried, end quote. But ultimately, those trying to legitimize the allegations, quote, needed a victim to come forward, end quote. Nikolai also claims to be close to those who have been impacted by the A-listers' alleged actions. So, in answer to what we're saying about, well, why didn't they forward because of this? Because basically what he's saying here is because it didn't happen to him, but he witnessed it. And in order for he can't report it because he just witnessed it. It don't mean nothing unless a victim reports it. So that's basically the answer to what we just been asking the last 10 minutes. He said, why? Well, why haven't you reported this
That
before?
sounds like a
Well,
bunch of
because
crap.
well, I mean, I'm just saying, hey, I'm just saying what it says. John's admitted. So and then they go on and say they don't say anything else about these guys, but yeah. So basically, well, why did if he was like this, why didn't you report him earlier? Well, well, he says people have tried. I don't know what that means, but the bottom line is for himself. His answer was you had to wait.
I'll
You
put it
had to
like
wait
this:
for a victim to come forward.
there is no such thing as try. It's either you do or you don't. So if
Well, I mean,
people,
I'm just
Yeah.
quoting them. So
if he say,
And once again,
if
even with
he say people have tried, there would be police, there would be police records to documentate that. And granted,
something.
I halfway agree with that because look how long people been getting away with shit in Hollywood. I mean, come on, look how long
But
Harvey
he wasn't hot.
Weinstein's gotten away with
But
stuff.
he
I'm
was.
just using it as an
But at
example. What I'm saying is
yeah, but
Harvey Weinstein
you can't
literally
even use
committed
that one.
physical crimes and got away with
But
it
but you
worse than
can't
what Majors is being
you
accused
can't
of.
you cannot use Harvey Weinstein because whenever these things happen concerning John Major, he was a civilian. He was not a Hollywood actor. He was a nobody. All the stuff that happened with Weinstein was when he was Harvey Weinstein, the film producer. That's a different
Well, as of right
story.
now,
All
his
this stuff
his
that this guy is saying.
allegations, he's still all right, but that's from what he's saying, whatever. But the reason when I'm not using Harvey Weinstein, I'm using this. I'm using the point of it is people
If
get
you are
away
going
with
to use
stuff.
any, I agree, but if you're going to, there is a very big difference between someone that is an established
But
talent in Hollywood compared to
right,
someone that isn't even on. He at that point in
I
time he wasn't
agree.
even on the Hollywood map. That's a different story.
You're
So what are you
100%
afraid
right.
of?
But what do you mean? What you're afraid of? You cannot determine what people feel, Ralph. You can't compare people to how you feel. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's just the bottom line. If a person says, I mean,
Why
because
not?
real talk, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. If I'm working with somebody, right, and I see if I'm working with an actor and I see that actor is outside with his girlfriend and they get into a fight and he hits her, right? I personally may try to, say, hey, yo, break this up, especially if it's on set. I'll do something about it. But I am not going to the police and reporting him because he hit his girlfriend. I'm just not, because that's not my business. So what he meant, what his answer was, a victim had to come forward before anyone else corroborated what they're saying and giving their opinion on it. Because yeah, god damn it, if someone said, yo, or I probably wouldn't come forward, but probably if someone asked me, yo, you ever seen so and so be violent?
So
Yeah. You're right. So I mean, well, why didn't you say nothing?
But
It ain't
again,
my business.
when you say, but see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Number one, what is the complexion of how melanated is this person?
It
Because
doesn't
again,
matter. I don't care.
it
I
does
don't care.
matter.
I don't care. No, I
It
don't
does,
care because I'm just
it
my
does,
whole
it
point
does.
of the
Here's
whole thing
why it
is this.
matters. It matters because here's why it matters. It matters because we need context. You're not don't come out here with this.
You
And I'm
missed
not
our
and,
point.
and I'm not
This whole
defending.
thing,
I'm
This
not.
guy sound like this
all of that
guy,
stuff, all of
right?
what, like 98% of the stuff y'all saying, I agree wholeheartedly with. What I'm saying is, it goes back to my original point. This is a time sensitive thing because the longer you wait or longer it goes on, the worse it is going to get
But
for
see that
him.
you have no
That is my.
control.
I'm gonna cut
You
y'all off because I want to get Cynthia's thoughts because we're going overtime and we gotta end the show soon. I don't mean to cut you off, not rudely, but I do want to get her thoughts. We've been going back and forth rambling and we haven't heard anything from her. So I just want to get your thoughts on it from your female perspective. And I know you. I know what you generally feel.
Yeah.
I just want to see since anything else that we've brought to effect. And I still didn't get your answer on how do you feel about the time situation. What's your thought on it?
I agree on that. Mainly because, nowadays cancel culture is a very real thing. People are looking to cancel people for any and every little thing. Um,
And
so
witch
yeah,
hunts
I
are
believe
real.
it. Yeah, I believe it is time sensitive. But anyways, I hope we get this video evidence. I keep saying
I
that
hope
because
so too.
I really want to.
That's gonna solve. That's gonna
That's
answer all
gonna
our
change the
questions.
whole game, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
could go. It could go one of two ways. So
mm.
that's my
Yeah,
thought on it.
I mean,
yeah.
I
Thank
hear
you.
you guys with the cancel culture thing, but
It's real,
here's my thing.
right?
You can allow what you allow. I mean, you
In the
have.
court of public opinion is real too. Unfortunately, they should really try to regulate that and keep things, but it's hard because of social media. It was easier before, like even when it comes to trials, right? It's easier to hide the jurors away from the media. It was easier. Now it's virtually impossible, right? Because of social media, because of the internet, it's virtually impossible unless you lock them in a padded cell, and they don't do that. So, um, you could literally get news on every electronic device, including your watch, including whatever. So, it's virtually impossible to keep people away from it, and it does affect things. It really does. If you it is that's a fact. If you just look at stuff, you know what I mean. But either way, we'll wrap it up by saying, we hope that this. I'm gonna say that I hope that this footage comes out ASAP, and I don't care if TMZ gotta go pay for it and put it out themselves. I hope the footage comes out. In his case, if it's what he said it is, I truly hope that it comes out and then it because even though he still has to do his court date, if it comes out and it shows that he's pretty much exonerated, you know, now it's just formality. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just formality because that's the only thing that's going to prove it. And that's the only thing that's going to prove it with everybody looking at it, right? Including the judge and whoever else looks at it from the court. That comes out and it's not in his favor and it's not what his lawyer said it is. He's in a lot of trouble.
Sorry.
He's in a lot of trouble. And that doesn't matter what people
That's
from
the
the
end of Jonathan
past say.
Majors.
Huh? That's the end of John. Yeah, I agree. And that won't matter
Is
what
that
people from the
yeah.
past say. It don't matter. It's like we have this right here, right? In our in our
This
in
is
our
today.
evidence. This is today. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. This is today, right? And so I mean, and at that point, I would think, now the question is, what did he sign with Disney? A six picture deal or something like that? Maybe 5 picture deal. He
Yeah,
signed
that'd
like a
be long.
multi-pitch, yeah, a multi-picture deal with Disney. that man, I hope this works out for him. I
Yeah,
I I
that'll be
don't know
bomb.
him personally. I don't know him personally, and if he is an abuser, then he gets whatever he gets. But I don't know him personally. But I do hope it works out for him in the long run, especially being that the woman retracted her statement. In my opinion, feels like they are now on the same page, right? Whatever it may be, even with her saying, "Hey, I don't want you to lose your career, so I'm going to retract my statement." Whatever reason she did it, they're apparently kind of on the same page. But the problem with that is it's too late because it's already been picked up by the district attorney. So it don't matter if she retracted her statement; they're still going to pursue it unless that video shows otherwise. That's pretty much that.
Yeah.
We want to thank everybody that came through in the chat rooms. Of course, Joseph, thanks for holding it down as usual. We also want to thank the gentleman who came through supporting Sweet over here, Murph.
Brian.
Yeah, and
Murph.
Murph and Murph. And yeah, and we want to thank you, Cynthia, for being so sweet and coming by
Oh,
and
thank
hanging out with
you.
us and listening to our banter and listen to our nerd talk and being a good co-host over there.
Of course.
Um I do
It was
want to
fun.
extend to you that you can come back anytime you like. We always extend that to you. Um and you are welcome to bring any topic involving television or film to the table, as long as it's not reality. We don't cover reality shows. We don't.
Okay.
There's enough coverage of that. We don't
Right.
cover. We don't cover reality shows. We don't consider that, to something that we cover. We cover scripted television and film. So, and of course, things like this that's involved with it, news and stuff like that. So, anything that you'd like to bring to the table, don't hesitate to hit me up and say, "Hey, I'd like to talk about this on your show if you don't mind." And then you don't have to say if you don't mind because I don't mind. I'm telling you that right now. I'm like, yeah, come on through. Let's talk about it. Open door policy here, and we appreciate you. Just give it, shout out your social media where people want to find you. We do know maybe where people can find your music if you have music out yet. Anything like that you want to promote for yourself, please do that
Um,
now.
yes, you guys can follow me on Instagram,
Hmm.
cinematic underscore. That's CYNNEMATIC underscore. Or you
Hmm.
can follow me on Facebook,
Hmm.
Cynthia May Sweet. And you can
Hmm.
also search me on Facebook, Songs by Sin, where I post little snippets here and there.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Songs by Sin. Okay,
yeah, Songs
that's
by
the easiest
Sin.
one. That's
I
the
like
easiest
that.
one.
Catchy.
Right. That's
Yeah.
the easiest one to remember. I always try to say the same thing. I'm like, I try to pick names that are easy to remember. A lot of people remember the director, but
Yeah.
sometimes they get it wrong with the DA. They put THE. They're like the director. I'm like, no, it's the director.
The director.
Right.
No,
But
Period.
but that but
Cynthia, just one thing. Also, just shout out how can people submit if there any artists out there that are trying to submit music or
music, you have tracks if they want to submit some beats to you or even some lyrics if that's the case. You
Yeah,
would
just
take songs, right?
yeah, honestly, just connect with me on Instagram and DM me. I
Mhm.
don't have a lot going on my Instagram right now, so I'll respond fairly quickly. But yeah, beats, collaborations, anything like that, just send it
Yeah.
over to my DM and we'll connect.
All right. And we've already talked off camera about possibly using some of your music in the next episode of Groupie. That's
Yes,
what's
and
up.
I'm so
I
excited
mean,
about that.
right. Hey, man, this is what we do. So we love working with, giving any sort of opportunity as we get opportunities in the independent world, upcoming, whatever you want to call it. And we're all professionals doing this. So yeah, it'll be fun. I did like that particular track you sent me. So we'll
Thank you.
definitely talk about that. But definitely don't hesitate if you want to come back. I don't care if it's next week. If you want to come back, let me know. I have
All right,
no
for
problem with that.
sure. I
All
will. I
right.
got some ideas of what we could talk about too.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, we're gonna end the show on that note, and we will definitely get up with you later. Thank you for joining us,
All right.
Cynthia. You
Thank you
have
for
a good
having
night.
me.
I'm gonna give you
Have a
your
good
night
Anytime.
night.
back. All right. All right, bye.
Good night.
Yeah. So yeah, good night. So on that note, we're gonna wrap it up. But yeah, man, I'm real pissed off about this whole situation, man. I just hope it works out for the dude. And I say that truly, that's how I feel. If it don't work out for him, well, it is what it is. But
Nice knowing you. Nice knowing you.
yeah, I know you. And he's a truly talent, whatever the case may be. And once again, you always got to say this for the Butthurt Nation. Call it the Butthurt Nation. You always got to say the Butthurt Nation. That is in no way, shape, or form me endorsing someone an alleged abuser. It's all about what I feel as his talent, and it's a shame either way. I don't care what you do. If you do cook wings at Wild Wings, that was funny by the way, Ralph. If you do flip the Wild Wings at Wild Wings, I still feel bad for you. If you might be the employee of the month, the wingman of the month. Oh, that's a dope title, wingman. That's what they should give you,
Wingman of the
right? The
month.
wingman of the
Yeah.
month, and give you
Wingman of the
make you
month.
look like Top Gun with some shades,
Yeah.
but be like, yo,
I can
wing.
make them
Even
hot and spicy.
if you wingman of the month and you go out and do something what I consider stupid to to ruin your career, I'll be saying it's a shame for him too. So it is what it is, man. But I love that. I love that. If he was working at Wild Wings, I said, yo, no, he didn't. Not Wild Wings. Not Wild Wings. But anyway, yo, that's it, man. Thanks everybody for coming. Peace out.